Night has settled like soft breath over the mountains. You and I sit here together in wordless stillness, breathing in, breathing out slowly like the breath of the earth and sky. If this moment brings you even a little peace, please leave a silent dot by pressing follow. Where are you listening from? And what time is it inside your heart? Now dim the lights, let the darkness gently embrace you and step lightly into the dream. You exhale, and the room seems to exhale with you. Walls soften, corners blur. The edges of the day dissolve into something more fluid, more forgiving. You are not required to understand this moment, only to rest in it. There is no need to search for meaning. It will find you in time and breath. The monk enters without speaking, his robes brushing the floor like a breeze through tall grass. He bows once, not to you, but to the silence that has already begun to teach. He sits beside you, cross-legged, relaxed, wholly unbothered by how much or how little you bring into this moment. Then he tells a story, not with voice, but by presence. Long ago, a young seeker came to him with burning questions. What is enlightenment? How do I become free? What must I do to find joy? The monk gave him an empty bowl. Sit with this, he whispered, but do not fill it. And in the soft, ordinary hours that followed, with no vision, no answers, the seeker discovered something unexpected. That even emptiness can hold warmth. That peace is not what fills the bowl, but what surrounds it. And so you sit now like that bowl, unfilled, unworried, unconcerned. You are not hollow. You are open. And you are beginning to remember that openness itself is a form of grace. Your breath comes easier. Your spine softens yet remains upright like a tree that knows both its strength and its surrender. The room feels wider now, as if your presence has created space within the air itself. Stillness is not absence. It is presence without struggle. Outside, a breeze stirs the lantern. The shadows flicker gently across the wooden floor. You hear the distant sweep of the courtyard, the monk again, brush in hand, tending to fallen leaves. He does not rush. He does not need to finish. Each sweep is complete in itself. A practice, not a task. A novice once asked him, "Why sweep the same path again and again?" He replied, "Because the dust still falls. Because the ground still calls." You understand now. Repetition is not failure. It is rhythm. And as your thoughts begin to wander, you return to breath. Gently. Without punishment. Like a broom returning to its ark. Even the drifting is part of the practice. You pour water into a kettle. It hums as it heats. Steam rises like a thread connecting earth and sky. You pour the tea slowly. The monk bows before drinking. So do you. This is how attention turns the ordinary into the sacred. When you drink tea, just drink tea. Not the worry, not the past, not even the anticipation of sleep. Just this warmth in your palms. Just this moment as it is. You sit beneath the stars. The sky is vast and you are small, but not insignificant. Just part of everything. The monk beside you whispers, "The stars ask nothing of us. That is why they feel so kind." You bow your head not in worship, but in remembering. You are not required to shine, only to be here. The gate that once felt locked now creaks gently in the wind. No one had to open it for you because it was never closed. Only your own thoughts stood before it like a wall. You take one step forward. There is no fanfare, no secret. Only space waiting patiently for you to arrive. A single leaf lands in your lap. You don't know where it fell from, and you don't need to. Its presence is enough, and now so is yours. The sun has not yet risen, but light gathers at the edge of the horizon. You feel it not as brightness, but as spaciousness in the body. A kind of remembering, a kind of return. The monk walks silently past you. His broom rests now. His breath continues. He places an old bowl on the table between you, the same empty one as before. But now it holds a single grain of rice. Nothing else. He looks to you as if to ask, is this enough? And somehow your body answers yes. You take the grain and place it on your tongue. Chew slowly. You taste the fields, the sun, the time it took to become what it is. One grain becomes a teaching, not of scarcity, but of fullness. It is enough because you are paying attention. Later, you trace your fingers along the wall of the temple and find a crack running through the plaster. The novice tries to cover it with cloth, but the elder monk says, "Let it be." A breath, a cracked wall still holds the roof. You sit with that. And you realize maybe the crack in you, the quiet one hidden behind practiced smiles, maybe that too still holds the whole of you together. Outside, a cloud crosses the morning sun. You expect dimness, but instead the light glows gold, softer than before, less demanding. The monk stands beside you watching. Some shadows show us light more clearly than brightness ever could. You nod. Not all clarity comes from seeing clearly. Sometimes it arrives disguised as confusion, discomfort, delay, and still it arrives. The garden gate opens again. You walk the same path you've walked for days, and yet it feels different. Not because the stones have changed, but because you have. You pause beneath a pine tree and listen. No birds, no wind, just silence. But even that feels full. The monk once said, when the chant ends, the real music begins. And now in this stillness, you hear it, the quiet resonance of life after sound. The breath between questions. The exhale that doesn't need to be followed. You remain. Later, the incense curls upward. A single strand of smoke. Delicate. Confident. You bow to it. The novice next to you fumbles his match and breaks the incense stick in half. He looks ashamed, but the elder lights it anyway. It will still burn, he says. And it does. So do you. Even when something inside you feels broken. Even when your effort is uneven. Your presence still carries fragrance, still offers light. You move through the corridor and glance into a small alcove. There you find an old robe, threadbare, folded neatly. The monk says it has been worn by many. You press your fingers to the fabric and feel warmth still held there. You think perhaps we are never the first to carry what we carry. Perhaps what you call your burden was once someone else's practice. And perhaps your endurance now is already preparing to soften the weight for another. You return to the hall and sweep again. Leaves have fallen as they always do. But now you smile, not because the work is different, but because you no longer ask the work to complete something. The sweeping is not to make the temple clean. It is to meet the ground again. You bow to the floor. It does not ask for it, but it receives it fully, like the morning sky receiving light, like the bowl receiving emptiness, like the heart receiving the silence that has waited all night. You carry a small ladle toward the well. Its handle is smooth from years of hands passing it back and forth, monks, novices, wanderers. You lower it slowly, draw water, lift, but your hand slips. The ladle clatters into the well. You gasp, frozen. The monk watching only smiles. Perhaps the well was thirsty too. You blink, and something in you unknots. Not all things dropped need retrieval. Not all losses need repair. Some simply become part of the earth again. You sit at the edge of the well and let the sound of the bucket rope creak gently, then still. The sun is higher now. Not hot, but golden. A novice passes by running. He stumbles, spills half the water from his pail. His face twists, ready to explain. The monk pours what remains into the soil. Even half water feeds the roots, he says. The boy bows. You remember that. Half joy, half effort, half presence, sometimes it's still enough. A trail of ants moves past your cushion. You pause to watch them, tiny, purposeful, silent. You think to brush them away, but something stops you. They are not trespassing. You are not the center. You are part, and that too is sacred. The monk sits down beside you. When we stop placing ourselves above, he says, we finally begin to rest within. Your hands rest in your lap. The incense has long since finished burning, but its scent still lingers in your robe. Memory does not vanish. It softens, like a whisper that no longer needs to be repeated, only felt. You open your journal and find blank pages. You want to write, but nothing comes. You do not force it. Instead, you breathe. The blankness is not absence. It is readiness. The monk walks past the window carrying no scrolls, no tools, no answers, just presence. And the page in you waits still. The bell rings, not from your temple, but another across the valley. You hear it, even from here, even now. Its sound reaches without effort, without needing to know who listens. You close your eyes and let it move through you like a breeze through silk. Some truths need no audience. They ring anyway. You sit longer than planned. You had meant to rise, to return to do, but your body disagrees, and you listen. To stay is also a kind of motion. To rest is not to stop. It is to become still enough for the world to find you. You open your eyes. The monk has lit a lamp beside you. You hadn't noticed. It burns low, gentle, not because it is dim, but because it is peaceful. You bow to it, not in worship, in recognition. It glows not to be seen, but simply to glow. As you do, you rise slower than usual. No hurry, no need. Only the continuation of breath into step. You walk the path again, and the path, like always, walks you back. You return to the stone steps that lead toward the orchard. They are damp from the morning dew, worn smooth from years of sandals, bare feet, quiet pacing. Today you count them as you descend, not for destination, but for presence. 12 steps. 12 chances to begin again. A feather rests on the fourth. White, curved, unmoving. You pick it up without reason. It weighs almost nothing. But it changes something in you. You keep it not as treasure, but as reminder that truth doesn't always arrive with weight. Sometimes it drifts down unnoticed until you choose to see it. The orchard trees lean slightly toward the sun. Some still bear fruit, others only shadow. You walk through them with no hunger, only wonder. And wonder, the monk once said, is the true beginning of wisdom. Back inside, a novice prepares tea but spills the water before it reaches the cup. You watch her freeze, embarrassed, but the monk only places a hand gently on her shoulder. Some lessons enter through the pause, he says, and that moment, that stillness before apology, before correction, becomes the teaching. You sit again near the hall's western window. It faces the garden wall, old and cracked. Vines have begun to trace along its base. The novice once asked if the cracks would be repaired. The elder shook his head. Even walls need to breathe. You trace a line across the stone with your eyes. It leads nowhere. And yet you follow. Not all paths are made for feet. Some are made for sight, for stillness, for softness. A chime rings lightly in the wind. You hadn't noticed it until now. The monk beside you tilts his head. You realize we do not always meet sound when it begins, but it's enough to meet it when the heart is ready. You rise, walking the long path that curves through the north field. A single plum blossom has fallen early. You kneel beside it. The monk does not speak, but his silence says, you do not need to return it to the branch. Let it rest where it is. Its journey was never backward. You carry no tools, no robes, no teachings in hand. And yet you feel full, not with answers, but with breath. With enough space inside for the next step to arrive on its own. The trees part, the light returns, and you, quiet, unnoticed, continue walking without need, without effort, into the most ordinary of miracles, another moment. The wind has quieted. Even the chimes are still. You pause beside a willow tree, its branches long and patient. A single thread of web stretches from one leaf to another, barely visible, until the sunlight finds it. You watch it sway, not shaking, not breaking, just moving with the world. The monk's voice comes gently behind you. What bends stays rooted. You bow to the tree, to the web, to the unseen hands that taught you softness without speech. Inside, a candle flickers in the meditation hall. Its flame leans slightly to one side, not because it is weak, but because the air is changing. You sit beside it. The monk kneels opposite you and sets down a bowl, empty again, but this time with intention. He pours nothing into it, then waits. This, he says, is a full offering. You blink. He continues. The bowl does not need contents to hold reverence. It holds space. And space is what we offer when we stop needing to fill. You stare into the emptiness and see something whole. Later, you help gather rice from the storage shed. The youngest novice drops his bag and spills grain across the steps. He gasps. The monk walking by smiles and says, "The ground will be grateful." You both kneel and gather what you can, leaving some for the birds. That too becomes offering. In the garden, the novice waters plants that haven't bloomed in months. When you ask why, he says they were once green. That's enough. You stand beside him in silence and water them too. Faith does not always require evidence. Sometimes it requires presence. The afternoon light begins to fade. A monk folds his robe slowly with careful hands. You watch each crease line up not with precision, but with care. He doesn't fold the robe to store it. He folds it to thank it, to honor its use. You recall a saying from the elder, "What wears down in service becomes sacred." You bow your head. What have you worn down without gratitude? The bell sounds at dusk, just once. It echoes through your chest, then disappears into the air. You do not wish for another. One was enough. One is always enough if you listen fully. As you return to your mat, a single candle remains lit in the corner of the hall. It flickers not with weakness, but with endurance. A steady breath of flame. The monk sits beside it not to protect it, but to be near it. You sit too. You do not chant. You do not speak. You simply sit, and in that stillness, surrounded by echoes, by scent, by air and time and light, something in you loosens, not to fall apart, but to unfold, like a flower in the dark. Night falls again slowly, not as an ending, but as a soft return, the sky folding itself like a well-worn robe. You walk once more along the path of lanterns. They glow without urgency, their light touching stone and leaf alike, asking nothing in return. The monk joins you near the steps. He holds no lantern, only silence. He gestures toward the west, where the sun has left the sky, but not yet your body. You still feel its warmth in your sleeves, its light tucked behind your eyes. He speaks low, the light does not leave. It simply travels elsewhere. You remember that for the parts of you that felt lost, extinguished. They are not gone, only carried to another corner of your being, waiting for you to turn and notice. You enter the meditation hall again. There's a robe folded on your cushion. You don't know who left it, but it fits. You sit. The wind outside lifts the edge of a curtain, revealing moonlight stretched across the floor. The monk says nothing, but you know this too is part of the lesson. Not all teachings require words. Some only ask that you stay long enough to receive them. A young novice begins a chant, then forgets the second line. His voice halts. A long pause. Then a quiet laughter rises from the elder monks, not cruel but kind. The chant continues, unshaken, and that too becomes practice. You bow your head. You've forgotten many lines in your own life, but still, you continued, and the song went on. Later, you help carry a tray of tea to the northern courtyard. You hold it with both hands. The cups do not clink. Not because the tray is steady, but because you are careful. The monk receives his cup with a bow so small you almost miss it. But that moment, that gesture fills the air more than any sermon. Reverence is not a grand act. It is a presence that asks, "Are you fully here?" And your answer finally is yes. As you turn back toward your room, a gust of wind brushes your cheek. You pause. Close your eyes. Let it pass through you like a memory not held too tightly. This breeze was not for anyone, and yet it touched you. This is how grace arrives, without warning, without needing to stay. You open your hand. There is nothing in it, and yet you feel full. You wake before the bell. The sky is still blue-black. The wind has paused as if holding a breath before speaking again. You sit upright, not because someone told you to, but because something in you is listening and ready. The monk appears near the doorway, carrying no object. He only gestures outward where dawn is considering itself behind the mountains. You follow. The field is wet with dew. Each blade of grass wears a crown of stillness. The horizon does not rise quickly. It arrives like a memory you almost forgot, slow, gentle, certain. You and the monk say nothing. There is no need to name light. It already knows itself. Later, a novice brings you a rice bowl. It is full, but you only eat half. The monk nods. Discipline is not denial. It is tenderness toward the future. You place the rest beneath the plum tree. A bird lands beside it moments later. You do not know if that bird was hungry, but the gesture was already complete. Returning to the hall, you pass a cracked window where the breeze slips through. You think of fixing it, then realize it lets in light at an angle that softens the room. Not all broken things need mending. Some were broken to let something else in. In the library, you find a scroll left half-written. The ink has dried, but the brush still rests nearby. You ask the monk if he intends to finish it. He shakes his head. Some stories end not with a period, but with a breath. You hold that thought and begin to see endings not as walls, but as doors slightly ajar waiting for nothing. As the sun lifts higher, you walk past the koi pond. One fish surfaces and disappears again. The reflection of the clouds wavers. The monk once said, "Don't chase what moves. Watch what stays beneath." You kneel, not to see deeper, but to stop disturbing the water. And there in the stillness, you create clarity returns on its own. You rise, the hem of your robe damp from kneeling. You do not mind. Some understandings are worth getting wet for. The bell sounds. You return to the main hall. But today you sit beside a different window. The monk passes behind you. You've changed your seat, he notes. You nod. He smiles. The view shifts even if the wall remains. So do you. What you once resisted now feels familiar. What once felt urgent now feels distant. Not because the world changed, but because you met it from a quieter place. You remain there, listening, not for answers, but for the silence between them. And the silent, steady, generous whole continues to teach, without asking for anything in return. The air is warm by midday, but not heavy. It carries with it the scent of pine, old stone, and boiled tea. You stand at the edge of the garden. A novice has raked perfect lines into the sand, concentric circles around a large, unmoving stone. But now the wind begins to blur them. The boy groans, lifting his rake. The monk puts a hand on his shoulder. Let the wind teach its own pattern. The boy watches as new shapes form, less perfect, but more alive. You smile. Some order is meant to be broken. Some beauty is meant to breathe. You walk past the laundry lines. A single robe flutters yours. Not torn, not new. Worn in just the right places. The fabric knows your shoulders. The monk nods at it as he passes. "It fits you better now," he says. You realize he isn't speaking of the robe. The fire crackles softly in the kitchen. You help stir rice one slow circle at a time. The novice beside you rushes her strokes. The elder gently takes her hand. The rice isn't watching the time, he says. Only us. You stir slower, not because you must, but because you can. The entire world begins to match your rhythm. Outside, a cicada sings once and goes quiet. A single call enough. The monk tells you of the ancient masters who spent seasons waiting for one sound. You think of your own life, how often you've missed the song while chasing the echo. But now even silence carries music. The door creaks open in the wind. You watch it swing once, then rest, not fully open, not closed, simply held. You stand in the threshold for a while, not going, not staying, and something in you understands the middle is a destination too. You return to the sitting hall where your cushion waits exactly as you left it. You kneel, not with perfection, not with pride, just with presence. The incense burns shorter now. The light has shifted, but you are still here. And like the bowl, like the robe, like the flame is already enough. The bell rings again, not in the temple, but somewhere far, perhaps across the valley. You can't see it, but you feel it move through you. The vibration arrives before the sound. The monk beside you closes his eyes. Truth travels, he says, even when no one is listening. You stay seated long after the tone fades. It's not the ringing that teaches, but the silence left behind. A small shadow crosses your lap. You look up, a leaf has fallen not from above, but caught on the wind from another place. It lands softly, rests, and does not move again. You don't brush it away. You sit with it, and in doing so, the leaf becomes part of your stillness. Later, you pass the training field where the young monks practice walking meditation. One walks too fast, trying to catch up. The teacher stops him gently. The path is not ahead of you, she says. It's beneath your foot. You take that lesson with you as you walk back to the kitchen one step at a time. Not to get somewhere, just to be with the step. A pot boils. You remove it from the flame just before it spills over. The monk sees this, nods. Wisdom, he says, is learning when to stop before the overflow. You hold that for the thoughts that swirl when the day is long. For the moments you've overpoured yourself in the name of purpose. Now you know how to remove the heat and let things settle. At the window, the curtain lifts with the breeze. You had closed it earlier, but now you leave it open. The light changes the room. Not by force, but by permission. You sip tea that is no longer hot. It tastes different, gentler, less demanding. The monk smiles. Even warmth becomes coolness. And in that, we learn what peace tastes like. You bow to your own cooling, to your own settling. A bird lands on the railing nearby. It does not sing. It does not move. Still, you watch it. Its presence does not need song to be complete. You understand now not every moment must express itself. Some simply are. You close your eyes, not to block the world, but to join it. To become the same stillness as the stone, as the leaf, as the bird, that needs no witness to be real. And from that quiet, something inside you begins to unfurl, not into ambition, not into effort, but into the soft recognition that you are not outside the moment. You are the moment. You are the presence the wind has been passing through. You are the water before it stirs. You are the sound of the bell before it rings. And now you rest. Not because it is time to sleep, but because you finally remember. You don't have to hold everything all the time. Dusk arrives not suddenly, but as a quiet softening of colors. The shadows no longer reach. They settle. You sit on the back steps of the temple, the stones warm beneath you. A bowl of water rests at your side untouched. You do not drink. You do not need to. Just knowing it is enough. The monk approaches with a folded cloth and lays it gently over your shoulders. He does not speak. The gesture alone carries the full weight of kindness. You close your eyes. The stillness becomes deeper, not heavier, just more whole. Somewhere nearby, a novice strikes wood to gather the evening signal. Once, twice, 3 times. You do not move, not from laziness, but from reverence. This stillness is the teaching now. The monk sits beside you again, holding a cracked bowl in his lap. He rubs it slowly with a cloth, not to repair, just to touch it. You ask him why he keeps it. He smiles. It holds nothing. But I remember how it used to. You understand. Not all things are kept for function. Some are kept for feeling, for what they once held and how gently they let it go. In your hands now is your own breath. Once shallow, now steady. You've stopped measuring it. You've stopped needing to name every sensation. Instead, you rest in it, like a leaf on still water. No more trying to float, just floating. A lantern is lit behind you. Its glow reaches across the yard, not with force, but with softness. You don't turn to see it. You only feel its warmth behind your back. This is enough. The monk rises and leaves his cushion. But you do not follow, because you have arrived, not at a final place, but at a moment that asks nothing of you. No teaching, no mantra, just this, you, breathing, and the world, not needing to be different. The room is dim now, not dark, but hushed. The shadows have grown long and familiar. They do not reach for you anymore. They simply lie beside you. You hear the monk quietly close the door behind him. Not with finality, but like placing a hand gently on a page already read. You lie down, not because you must, but because gravity has softened its voice into invitation. The floor welcomes you. The cushion holds you like memory. Your robe folds around your body like a second silence. Somewhere nearby a bell is not ringing, and that too is part of the rhythm. The monk once told a story about a candle that burned all night. No one watched it. No one relied on it. And yet it offered its light anyway. Because offering was its nature. You think of that candle now not to emulate it, but to understand that sometimes the most sacred work is the one that asks for no praise, only presence. A novice enters briefly to gather cushions. He bows before touching anything. Even the smallest items are honored here, not for their value but for their part in the stillness. You feel your body becoming like that, an object of gentle use of care without demand. You no longer ask your mind to quiet. You no longer ask your breath to deepen. You simply let things be as they are. A breeze passes through the window. You let it. The air brushes your wrist. You do not move. You do not name it. You simply feel. And in that, you become a part of the world that no longer separates itself from what it touches. Outside, the trees do not shift. The wind has paused. Or perhaps it never arrived. Perhaps it was only you softening. The monk lights incense in the corner. The smoke rises, thins, disappears. You do not follow it. You remain, because staying still is no longer resistance. It is rest. There is no more to know tonight. No more to fix. No more to remember. Only the breath. Only the body. Only this small, spacious world that requires nothing from you but your willingness to receive it gently. And so you do. The incense burns lower now. The line of smoke no longer reaches far. It curls once, folds inward, then disappears, leaving behind only a faint trace in the air, something you feel more than smell. The monk sits at the far end of the hall, facing away from you. He does not speak. He does not move. But his presence fills the room like the last glow of an ember. You mirror him, not by instruction but by instinct. Your back straightens. Your breath slows. Your thoughts no longer hurry to become words. They simply pass like clouds, too lazy to rain. You recall his earlier words, "Stillness isn't something we do. It's something we stop interrupting." Tonight you have stopped, and in that stopping you feel something else begin, not an action, but an awareness. Not a goal, but a soft arriving. The novice nearby adjusts her cushion, then stills. Her motion does not disturb you, because your peace does not depend on silence. It lives in your response to movement. A candle flickers. The flame leans, then rights itself. You realize even the flame has a center, and so do you. You no longer wonder where that center is. You are inside it now. Outside, a bird calls once. You hear it. You don't seek meaning in it. You let it be song. Even your breath is simpler now. No longer measured, no longer forced. It does not wish to carry insight, only air. You lie back, one hand resting over your belly, the other open beside you, fingers loose, as if offering something invisible to the floor beneath. What are you giving? Nothing. What are you keeping? Also nothing. And yet you feel more whole than when you held everything. The monk rises slowly. He bows to the altar, not for form, but for gratitude. You do the same, even if only inwardly. Not to conclude anything, not to mark the end, but because your body, like the monk's, knows when a breath has become complete and the next will arrive. Only when you're ready, the night deepens, not with cold, but with quiet. A kind of silence that doesn't just fill the room, it fills you. You don't chase it. You don't reach for it. You simply stop stepping away from it. The monk has left now, but his footsteps did not disturb the floor. Or maybe the floor had already accepted him as part of its rhythm. You lie still, not rigid, but relaxed. Like a stone that has finally decided it no longer needs to be moved. The wind passes again, a small whisper along the paper walls. You do not resist it. Letting go of resistance has become your only practice. There's a story the monk once told. A master walked into a hall full of students asking, "What is the way?" He stood silent, then turned, then walked out. Later, one student followed and asked, "Why didn't you answer?" The master said, "I did. You understand now." The answer was not in words. The answer was the leaving. Sometimes to move away from the noise is to enter the truth. Your body feels heavier, not with tension but with grounding. You are not pinned to the earth. You are held by it, like a bowl resting where it was placed. And for the first time in a long time, you feel placed. You do not feel behind. You do not feel late. You do not feel broken or unfinished or not quite enough. You simply feel here, and here is enough. You don't remember the last thought you had. You only remember the space it left when it passed. That space is widening, and in it something opens. Not a door, not a new chapter, but a sky, a horizon. A sense that you are already walking across it barefoot, without destination, without effort. Just being. The candle beside you flutters one last time, then steadies. So do you. There is a moment just before deep sleep, when the world grows feather-light. Thoughts stop marching and begin drifting. Sounds become shapes. Time stretches, then forgets itself. You are near that moment now. The body knows. It loosens without asking permission. It no longer protects itself from softness. Your limbs feel as though they've been gently placed down, not dropped, not surrendered, just returned. The monk once said, "When the hand opens, the world does not fall. It settles." Your hand is open now, fingers unfurled, palm upward like a lotus that no longer needs to close. Outside, a branch creaks, not in protest, just in communication. With the wind, with the night, with no one in particular. You breathe. The air does not answer you. It joins you. You remember the old parable the monk shared at dusk. A student asked, "Where does the path lead?" The teacher touched the ground beneath him. "Here," he said. "You understand now. There is no path. There is only your foot, your breath, your presence, and all of that is already touching the ground of now." The cushion beneath you no longer feels like an object. It feels like part of your spine. The air is no longer other. It is your exhale. You do not know when the next moment will come, and you are not waiting for it. You are inside this one, fully, and that is freedom. Your face softens. Your jaw releases. Your eyes remain closed, not to shut the world out, but to welcome it inward. You are not asleep yet, but you are far from waking. You are drifting now. Not outward, but inward, deeper, not toward something, but into everything. And there, in that soft, immeasurable space, you rest. The room is so still now, it no longer feels like a room. The edges blur, the corners dissolve. You cannot tell where your body ends and where the space around you begins, and there's no reason to know. You are no longer inside a place. You are inside a moment, and that moment is vast. You hear no footsteps, but somehow the monk is near again. Perhaps he never left. Perhaps this presence has always been yours, simply waiting for you to become quiet enough to feel it. He kneels beside your mat and places a warm cloth over your feet. He does not speak, because nothing needs to be added now. The warmth alone is the lesson. You breathe in, and your breath doesn't feel like yours. It feels shared with the room, the air, the sky beyond the roof. You breathe out, and something leaves you. Not a thing, not a thought. Just the effort of holding. You no longer hold. You are held. The monk touches your shoulder once the way a hand touches a prayer wheel, not to change it, but to honor it. Then he leaves, quiet as moonlight leaving a window pane. You turn slightly to one side, not out of discomfort, but instinct. The body finding the shape it loves most in rest. The blanket covers your knees. The earth supports your spine. Gravity becomes your cradle, and within this cradle, the great silence begins to hum. It has no sound, but you feel it like the bass note of a song that has not yet started. But you don't need the music. The hum is enough. The candle burns low now. You don't need to see it. You know it is there. Its light, like your presence, is not brighter because it's seen. It simply is. And in that being there is peace. So you close your eyes, not to shut out the world, but to open yourself completely to it. This is not sleep yet, but it is the doorway. And you have arrived barefoot, breath deep and beautifully empty-handed. Sleep has not yet arrived, but the body no longer asks questions. The breath no longer counts itself. It only flows. Not like a river hurrying to the sea, but like a tide that has realized there is nowhere else to go. You are not trying to sleep. You are simply no longer trying not to. The moonlight brushes the floor soft, like a forgotten song remembered in the half-light of memory. No fanfare, no crescendo, just a slow unfolding. You feel the pulse in your wrists. It is slower now. Even the blood has begun to listen. There is a teaching the monk once offered, but only once whispered before sunrise: do not chase sleep. Do not resist waking. Let the space in between become your teacher. You did not understand it then, but you do now. This space, this hovering stillness, this moment between letting go and being gone, it is not empty. It is sacred. A breeze lifts the curtain at your feet. The room stirs, then returns to stillness. Nothing disturbed, nothing broken, just breath adjusting. A bird makes one soft call in the trees beyond the wall. You do not know its name, but it feels like it sang only for you. And then even that song fades, and the silence becomes the echo. You shift your body one last time. It's not to get comfortable. It's to say, I am ready. Ready not to go anywhere, but to finally be here. Completely. The candle dies. No smoke, no sizzle, only the quiet return of shadow. And in that deep, unwavering dark, something opens inside you. Not a thought, not a feeling, just peace. The kind that does not need your name. The kind that existed before your first breath, and will continue long after your last. You are not dreaming yet, but already you are where dreams begin. The dream does not come as a vision. It comes as air. Air that settles not only into your lungs, but into your chest, your arms, your fingers. It doesn't fill you. It reminds you that you were never empty. Your body feels weightless now. Not like it's floating, more like the earth is no longer resisting your rest. You are not falling asleep. You are falling into being. The monk once sat beside a stream, watching the water glide over stones. When asked what he was doing, he replied, "Nothing." "But you've been here for hours," the novice said. "Yes," the monk smiled. And the stream has never repeated itself. That memory passes through you now, not like a thought, but like water over skin. No grasping, no clinging, only motion, only now. The wind outside moves gently. a steady breath against the walls. You begin to match its rhythm without meaning to. Inhale like leaves rising, exhale like mist dissolving. No mantra is needed, no anchor. You are the ocean, not the ship. You are the space between waves, not the crest. You are the softness that lets the world move through you without tearing. You forget what time it is. That forgetting is a gift. You forget where you are. That too is a kind of prayer. Because what matters now is not where you came from, not what you carry, but that you have arrived here, inside a stillness you didn't create but finally allowed. Your eyes may still be open, but sight has softened. You no longer scan the room. You no longer scan yourself. The search has ended, and nothing was missing. There is no lesson left to learn in this hour. Only presence, only rest, only this, and this is enough. The space around you no longer feels like space. It feels like embrace. You do not remember what thoughts were present a moment ago. They came gently and left even gentler. Now only the breath remains, not even yours anymore, just breath. Borrowed, given, returned. The monk once said, "When the body sleeps and the mind lets go, it is not death. It is returning to the place where nothing must be earned." You are returning now to that place where even names rest, where even effort sleeps. You do not resist. Even resistance has grown tired. Your muscles have softened. The jaw unclenched long ago. Your hands have opened. There is nothing left to carry, and you feel that clearly now nothing was ever yours to carry. The pain, the question, the tension, the reaching, all of it borrowed. Tonight you return it, not with bitterness, with gratitude. Outside, a single lantern still glows by the stone path. You can't see it, but you remember it. Its light is already inside you. The monk once walked that path in the rain without an umbrella. When asked why, he said, "Because the sky never asked me to stay dry." You smile softly now. Even your face forgets how to frown. Let it rain, let it darken. Let the world do what it does. You are no longer here to shape it. You are here to be shaped by the softness of letting go. You are the earth accepting water. You are the cloud no longer asking for form. You are the echo after the bell still singing in silence. And if sleep comes now, let it. If it waits, that too is peace. Because you are no longer trying to escape the waking world. You have found stillness inside it, and you can stay here as long as you need. There is a gentle warmth resting along your chest now. Not from blankets, not from the air, but from within. It pulses softly like a hidden lantern no longer needing to hide. You do not chase this feeling. You do not try to name it. You simply let it remain. The monk once said, "What rises gently will never need to fall." You are rising now, not into thought, not into dream, but into deep acceptance. Outside, the wind has stilled. The chimes do not move. And yet something sings inside you, a quiet note without beginning or end. The candle in your memory burns again. Its flame doesn't flicker, it holds. Steady, silent, real. The room feels wide. Your body feels wide. The world no longer ends at your skin. And in this vastness there is no fear. because nothing touches you as stranger. Everything touches you as sky. A single breath comes long and low. It is followed by another, each breath a bow, not to any god, not to any rule, just to this moment, just to the privilege of being here, alive, and finally, rested. The monk used to say, when you no longer seek sleep, it comes to sit beside you. It has come now. Not to claim you, but to welcome you into what you already are. Stillness. Not a state, not a prize, a remembering. The remembering that even when thoughts return, even when the body stirs, you do not lose this place. Because this place, this peace is not outside you. It is your nature. You are not entering sleep. You are entering yourself, and you are safe here. Sleep is not something that falls. It is something that rises. And tonight it rises through you, not as fog, not as darkness, but as a slow dissolving of needing to be anything else. You are not retreating from the world. You are softening into it. The monk once told a story about a leaf that floated for days across a quiet stream, never sinking, never rushing, simply following the flow. When asked where the leaf would go, the monk smiled and said, "Wherever the water has been waiting." You feel that now that the current beneath you is not new. It has always been flowing. It was only waiting for you to lie down fully and trust it. You don't need to know where it leads, only that it carries you gently. A breath comes, deeper than the ones before. It moves through your ribs, your spine, your shoulders. It does not leave anything behind. It gathers you like arms, and then it leaves like arms do with love. You sigh, not because of weariness, but because the day no longer holds you, and night no longer asks you to hold back. Even the smallest tension now releases. The tightness in your brow, the thoughts behind your eyes, the small clinging in your chest, all of it like dust brushed off the edge of a windowsill. No resistance, just release. The monk once said, letting go is not the end. It is the way something truly joins you. And now here in this stillness, what joins you is not a teaching, but silence. Not as absence, but as the most complete presence you've ever known. You do not need to cross into sleep. Sleep has already stepped across the threshold and sits quietly beside you. It breathes when you breathe. It holds what you no longer carry. And in this shared breath, this final soft exhale, you rest. Not for a moment, but completely. You do not know how long you have been resting, but time in this silence has forgotten its shape. There is no beginning here, no end, only warmth, only rhythm. A distant bell chimes once soft, like a memory returning on tiptoe. You hear it not with your ears, but with your breath. The monk once said, we don't hear with the body, we hear with presence. You are present now, not awake, not asleep, present. Somewhere between gravity and sky, your body floats without moving. There is no goal, no effort, just this, stillness without tension, softness without collapse. A novice used to worry about losing his focus during meditation. He would grasp too tightly, breathe too hard, chase stillness as if it were prey. The elder told him gently, the more you chase the water, the more it runs. Be still, and it pools around you. You understand now. You are not required to be alert. You are not required to drift. Both are allowed. This moment holds both gently, like palms pressed together in namaste, neither needing to dominate. The mat beneath you feels endless. The body no longer edges against itself. Even your thoughts, when they arise, no longer press. They pass through like fog through an open field there, then not. The heart beats, slow. You feel it, not as demand, but as echo. The body continues its quiet labor of being alive, but you no longer supervise. You've given it back to the rhythm of nature, to the quiet intelligence that never needed your permission to carry you forward. You are not the breath. You are not the thought. You are the vastness through which both move, and that vastness sleeps. You have not moved in some time, but this stillness does not feel like holding. It feels like floating. The blanket around your shoulders is no longer fabric. It is the evening itself draped across your body like a vow whispered by the sky. Even your breath no longer belongs to you. It belongs to sleep now. And sleep does not arrive like a guest. It arrives like a memory, soft, familiar, and unhurried. The monk once said, "When you stop trying to be present, presence comes to find you." And now you are being found, not by thoughts, not by dreams, but by something softer than both, by the kind of peace that doesn't explain itself, that doesn't try to impress or instruct, that just is. A peace that hums in the soles of your feet, a peace that rests behind your eyes, a peace that does not ask you to name it, because it does not need your approval to exist. You are not drifting away from yourself. You are sinking deeper into your true self, the one that was never in a hurry, never behind, never unworthy, the one that has always been enough even when forgotten. And now even forgetting seems unnecessary, because there is nothing left to remember, only the rhythm, only the quiet, only the soft pulse of something vast and kind, holding you the way the ocean holds even the smallest shell. There is a lantern in the distance, or perhaps it is only the sensation of light behind your closed eyes. You don't need to know. All that matters is that it glows without effort. And so do you. No one is watching, not even your mind. Only the darkness gently wrapping itself around you like a lullaby with no words. And you wrapped inside it are slowly dissolving into sleep, not because you must, but because you finally feel safe enough to. You are no longer asking yourself whether you are asleep. You are no longer asking anything at all. Even the question has learned to rest. There is no boundary, now no separation, between your body and the cushion, between the breath and the dark, between the sky and the inside of your chest. All things are gently returning to each other. And in this return there is no ceremony, only softness. The monk once spoke of a time he watched the moon rise behind the temple. He said, "I stopped looking for it. And when I stopped, it was already there." This is what sleep feels like now. Not the arrival of something new, but the lifting of everything you no longer need. Even the idea of you begins to blur. Not in loss, but in ease. You are not disappearing. You are widening, stretching quietly into the great field of calm that has always been underneath everything. The monk once told the novice who feared he could not meditate correctly, "You cannot fail to be present. You are already here, and you are already here. Not through effort, not through discipline, but through surrender, through the grace of no longer pushing, no longer fixing, no longer fearing the space between thoughts. There is no need to think now. Even your dreams, when they arrive, will not need to be vivid. They will simply be gentle companions walking beside you, saying nothing, asking nothing. You are not sleeping to escape. You are not sleeping to recharge. You are sleeping because the body trusts you again. It trusts that it is safe enough now to fall. And so you fall not downward but inward, into warmth, into quiet, into something wordless, slow, and beautifully whole. The breath is barely noticeable now, not because it has stopped, but because it no longer needs your attention. It simply moves, like a tide that no longer questions the moon. You do not guide it, you follow it. Or more truly, you allow it to pass through. And even the word allow is too strong, because you are not granting permission anymore. You are dissolving into permission itself, a deep still yes. Yes to sleep, yes to stillness, yes to the part of you that never needed proving. The monk once said, "When you sleep with a quiet mind, the world does not vanish. It rests beside you, and now the world rests. The walls, the windows, the sky, all of it breathes with you. All of it has joined you in the unlearning of urgency. You do not have to explain your rest to anyone, not even to yourself. Even time no longer ticks. It exhales, and in that exhale, you find eternity. Not as forever, but as this single unbroken moment of peace. There are no images behind your eyelids, only space, only softness, only the comfort of not needing to become anything. You already are, and what you are is not an achievement. It is not even a state. It is the pure simplicity of being, a candle that does not burn to be seen. A stone that does not resist the river. A breath that does not try to be deep yet is. And now you drift not through dreams yet, but through the sacred waiting room before them. The place where nothing is asked and everything is welcomed. There is nothing left to soften. You have already become soft. There is nothing left to let go of. Everything has already fallen from your hands, gently, silently, like petals landing on water. You are not on the edge of sleep. You are in the center of it. Not the center as a place, the center as a feeling. A slow, circular stillness that spirals inward forever without ever needing to arrive. The monk once said peace is not the opposite of movement. It is the movement that asks for nothing. You feel that now. The breath is still there barely, but even it no longer moves in and out. It simply stays, a light pulse, a hum beneath the hum. Outside, a bamboo stalk bends in the wind. You don't see it, but you know it. Some part of you is bending too. Not in surrender, but in harmony. You are not trying to remain still. Stillness is what remains when everything else fades. You are not trying to sleep. You are simply no longer trying to stay awake, and in that not trying, you disappear gently into the place you never truly left. Your chest rises, pauses, falls, each motion a syllable in the lullaby of night, and slowly even that lullaby becomes unnecessary. There are no more words, no more teachings, no more paths to follow or lessons to understand, only this final flicker of thought before the light behind your eyes goes quiet. The monk once bowed to an empty cushion and said, "Sometimes nothing is the holiest guest, and tonight nothing has come. It sits beside you, cradles you, becomes you, and together you sleep. There is nothing to do now, no breath to control, no thoughts to manage, only the soft, steady rhythm of what remains when everything else has been gently set down. You are not asleep yet, and you are not awake. You are resting in the sacred space between a place so quiet that even silence leans in to listen. Your breath no longer moves like effort. It moves like nature. Like waves touching shore, not to conquer it, but to remember it. The body is no longer a task. It is not a thing to guide or fix. It is a field that has stopped asking to be plowed, and now lies open beneath a forgiving sky. There is a kind of wisdom that only arrives in this place. Not the wisdom of words or answers, but of warm air against your cheek, of the way your toes no longer curl, of the subtle shift in the spine as it surrenders to gravity without fear. The monk once said, "There is a difference between lying down and being laid down by the world. Tonight the world has laid you down, gently, completely, with the tenderness of a lullaby that doesn't need lyrics. You remember in some far corner of thought a time when stillness made you uneasy, when silence felt like something was missing, when not moving meant you were doing something wrong. Now you know better. Now you feel this is where the real movement begins. This is the river underneath all rivers, the place where sleep is not a falling, but a rising into a state so soft that even dreams must take off their shoes before entering. A breeze moves past the window. You don't hear it. You feel its absence, that gentle shift in the air's shape, and for a moment you too are a breeze, moving through the architecture of your own inner stillness, touching nothing, disrupting nothing, simply being here. The monk used to tell a story about a student who sat still for hours trying to clear the mind. He would swat thoughts away like flies. He would breathe hard, then soft, then hard again, searching for the perfect moment of clarity. And one day, exhausted, he stopped. He stopped controlling his breath. He stopped pushing away his mind. He stopped trying to be still, and in that exact moment, the stillness arrived. Not because he earned it, but because he finally got out of its way. You feel that now. You are not guiding your thoughts. You are no longer trying to have a peaceful mind. You are simply letting the peacefulness that was already here rise up to meet you. There are no chants in the background, no incense curling upward from a burner, and still it feels sacred. This stillness, this darkness, this warmth around your legs and across your chest. It is enough. It is more than enough. The body knows the way now. The breath knows how to carry you. You have nothing left to monitor, nothing left to prepare. This is not the beginning of sleep. This is the continuation of surrender. You hear the monk's voice in memory, soft, half laughing. Sleep is what happens when your presence finally gets quiet enough to listen to the body. And the body is singing now. A song without melody. A lullaby made of pulse and softness and time turned fluid. Your jaw unclenches without being asked. Your tongue rests gently against the roof of your mouth. Your hands once curled slightly with the residue of doing are open now, resting like petals that no longer need to hold anything. There is no part of you still trying. You are not chasing sleep. You are allowing stillness to arrive with sleep hidden inside it, like a letter slipped beneath a door you didn't know could open. Outside, a branch shifts slightly. The sound is so soft it barely grazes the ear. But your body hears it not with noise but with knowing. Nothing needs to be resolved. No loops need to be closed. No forgiveness must be forced, no decision made. Not tonight. Tonight is not for answers. Tonight is for becoming the question itself and resting, even without an answer. The monk once lit a candle, placed it in the center of the hall, and sat facing it. He did not move. He did not blink. When asked what he was doing, he said, "I am learning how to be here," without needing to explain it. And here you are, with no need to explain this rest, this sleep, this stillness. The bed has become part of the earth. The earth has become part of your skin. You are no longer separate from this night. You are no longer asking it to carry you. It already is. Like a mother carries a sleeping child without expectation, without effort, with only love. And if the dream comes now, it will not come to wake you. It will come to lie beside you, to become a companion, silent, kind, wordless, like the breath, like this moment, like you. At last you are what you have been seeking still, safe, and silently asleep. The darkness no longer feels like the absence of light. It feels like light turned inward, a radiance not for the eyes, but for the soul. You are inside that radiance now, floating. Not forward, not backward, just suspended in the soft gravity of the present. Time is quiet here. The minutes do not pass. They breathe, and so do you. Each inhale now feels like returning. Each exhale, a letting go you didn't know you still needed. There is nothing you must remember, nothing you must plan for. The body is no longer a vessel for tomorrow. It is a resting bell, echoing stillness into the night. The monk once sat beneath the Bodhi tree for an entire afternoon with his hands folded in his lap. He did not speak. He did not teach. When asked later what he had been doing, he replied, "I was listening for the sound of the leaf that did not fall." You understand that now. Not everything that matters announces itself. Some truths arrive quietly, like your breath, like this rest, like the space between heartbeats where the world begins again. You feel your chest rising. It does not rise with ambition. It rises because it must, because life continues even when you no longer hold the reins. This is not surrender as collapse. This is surrender as becoming. Your body has become a garden, not one that needs tending, but one that has grown enough for the season, and now simply rests under the moon, awaiting nothing. Even dreams are gentle here. They chi content. You do not reach for them. You do not need to. Everything that must arrive will arrive when it's ready, and what doesn't arrive was never yours. The monk once whispered to a student, trembling with fear, "Not everything that enters the heart needs to be carried by the hands. You have carried so much. But now your heart is not empty, it is full of space. And space is where freedom lives. You shift slightly, not to fix, not to find comfort, just because your body asked, and you listened. It's such a small movement, but it feels like a prayer. Not a spoken one, but the kind the body offers when it is finally trusted. The floor beneath you no longer feels like a surface. It feels like belonging. You are not lying on something. You are resting in something. The air wraps itself around your legs, your arms, your cheek. It holds you as if it has been waiting all day for the chance. And maybe it has. Sleep doesn't always rush in. Sometimes it watches. Sometimes it waits for the moment you stop needing it, and then it comes soft as a robe laid over tired shoulder. You are that robe now. You are the tired shoulders, and you are the one doing the covering. All parts of you have returned to each other. You are not fragmented anymore. You are whole enden, but because nothing needs to be. The monk used to draw circles in the sand with his finger. When asked why, he'd say, "I like watching things complete themselves. This breath, this sleep, this rest, it completes itself. You are not in charge here, and thank the stars for that. Because what happens without your control is often the most peace. You feel yourself becoming weightless again, not like lifting, but like the earth is holding more of you than before. You are not falling asleep. You are into the temple of night, into the sanctuary of stillness, into the moment that asks nothing of you but, and you do. You no longer think in sentences. Even words have begun to loosen their grip, dissolving like ink in water, their edges soft, their meaning no longer needing to be grasped. There is only feeling now, a quiet presence spreading across the skin like warmth from a distant fire, felt but never seen. Your eyes are closed, and yet the world remains. Not outside of you, but within. The trees, the wind, the moonlight. All still here, held gently beneath your ribs, suspended in the still lake of your breath. And that lake is calm now, unmoving. Not because it is forced, but because nothing stirs it. The monk once said, "Peace is not the absence of thought. It is the absence of struggle." You are not struggling now, not with the mind, not with the moment, not with the mystery of where the breath goes when you stop watching. Everything you once held tightly has slipped from your fingers like sand not lost, just returned to the earth. You are not trying to fall asleep. You are allowing the night to rise through you, like mist rising off the river at dawn, like the hush that arrives after the candle has gone out. You feel your hands resting loosely, palms turned upward, not as a gesture, as a state of being, receptive, open, unburdened, as if you've remembered something older than worry, that you were never meant to carry so much. A memory passes through you, not a clear image, just a sensation. Perhaps a time when you were small, safe, and carried. And now, once again, you are carried. By the floor, by the breath, by the kindness of the dark. The monk once told a student who feared stillness, "Be like the tree. Do not force rest. Just drop what is no longer green. You have dropped it now, all of it. The tension in the jaw, the holding in the chest, the thinking behind the eyes, the stories you told yourself all day. They have returned to the ground like leaves, and the ground receives them without judgment. Even your questions, where am I? What time is it? Am I doing this right? They too have softened. You no longer ask. You no longer need to know. There is a greater knowing now, not the knowing of the mind, but of the bones. The kind of knowing that exists in silence and waits patiently for you to remember it. You are remembering it now, in the space behind your breath, in the space between each beat of the heart, that this moment was always yours. Long before the thoughts, long before the plans, long before the effort to rest. Sleep is not your reward. It is your return, and you have returned fully. Your body has become a temple with no walls. Each breath is an open gate. Each exhale, a bow, not to anyone, to everything. You are no longer separate from the night. You are its whisper, its pause, its patient unfolding. The monk once lit incense during a storm and said, "Even in chaos, fragrance finds a way to rise." You are that fragrance now, rising through this soft quiet, not because you must, but because your nature is to be at ease. Your spine rests like a mountain beneath blankets. Your face is slack, your limbs released, and in this exquisite stillness you are no longer waiting, not for the next moment, not for the dream, not even for sleep, because sleep is already here, wrapped around you like a story told so slowly, so lovingly, that the ending doesn't matter, because the telling is the gift, and you just by being here, just by breathing, are already receiving it. There is nothing more to do, only to rest deeper and deeper still. There is no more edge to this moment. It has softened completely like a bowl of water with no ripple left. No beginning, no end. Just roundness. Just rest. You are no longer lying in a room. You are lying in stillness itself. The breath continues slow like the sway of a branch that has forgotten the wind. The chest rises, falls, not to stay alive, but to stay open. The monk once said, "If the body remembers how to breathe, the mind will remember how to rest." And now both have remembered. There is no chant, no mantra. Not tonight. Only the deep hum of what happens when nothing is forced and nothing is held. You feel your limbs dissolve, not vanish, not disappear, but loosen their shape. The body no longer asks to be managed. It is not a burden. It is not an assignment. It is a floating stone in the river of night. And the river loves it. There are no sharp edges now, only curves, only warmth. Sleep is not far. Sleep is not even near. Sleep is the room, and you are inside it. A faint breeze finds the skin of your wrist. You do not shiver. You do not stir. The body knows it is safe, not because the world is perfect, but because you are no longer defending yourself against it. You have stopped the quiet war, and in the absence of defense, everything feels like peace. The monk once touched a cracked bowl and said, "You think this is broken, but look, it still holds light." You think of your own cracks, and you feel them glowing. They are not faults. They are entry points for breath, for warmth, for mercy. You lie in the shape of trust now. There is no tension to unwind, no alignment to fix. The blanket does not cover you, it holds you. The air does not surround you, it joins you. Even your pulse is slow, steady, unbothered, a rhythm beneath all thought. You are not your thoughts tonight. You are not even the one watching them. You are the space they pass through. You are the still lake beneath the birdsong. You are the sky that remains when the clouds move on. Somewhere beyond what you can hear, a bamboo chime stirs. But its sound doesn't arrive here, only its silence. The monk once smiled in the middle of a long sitting and said, "The silence between sounds. That is the original language. You are fluent in that language now, because you no longer speak it. You feel it. You are it." You turn slightly, not to adjust, but because the body wants to melt just a little more. And so it does. You exhale. There is nothing to follow the breath now. No plan, no conclusion, no request. Just quiet. The kind that touches the bones. The kind that turns even dreams into distant birds on a still lake. You do not reach for them. You only float. The thoughts, if they arrive, wear no shoes. They do not disturb. They move gently like monks crossing a floor with bare feet and bowed heads. Everything moves gently now. Even you, especially you. And sleep is not a curtain. It is not a wall. It is not a tunnel. It is a door that was never closed, only waiting for your breath to step through. You have stepped through, and what's on the other side? Not something else. Just this, but deeper. This, but more whole. This, but without the weight of trying. This is the grace of being fully, silently, and safely here. You are no longer waiting for sleep, because something deeper than sleep has already arrived. It didn't knock. It didn't announce itself. It simply entered the way dusk enters a valley, gradually, then completely. You did not miss it. You did not earn it. You allowed it. And now, you are inside it. Not as a guest, but as the one the stillness had been waiting for all along. Your body remembers this state not from last night, not from childhood, but from something older. Older than memory, older than effort. The monk once sat at the base of a pine tree for a whole afternoon, unmoving. When a student approached and asked what he was doing, the monk smiled and said, "I'm being what the tree already understands. You are the tree now. You do not stretch. You do not lean. You do not strive. You simply remain, and your stillness is not passive. It is alive. It breathes. It holds. It listens. You are not dreaming yet, but the dreams are drawing close, not as visions, not as symbols, but as waves that rise in rhythm with your breath. They are not separate from you. They are made of you, of your breath, of your release, of your willingness to stop seeking. There is no story you must enter, no meaning to decode. You are already home. You have returned to the center, not as a place on a map, but as a feeling without edges. Your toes rest without tension. Your legs, long and loose, no longer hold you up. Your spine has become water. Your head is no longer heavy. It floats gently in the cradle of stillness. You are the bowl now empty but not lacking. You hold the fullness of silence, the completeness of space, the gentle curve of surrender. You do not name this peace. You do not even reach for it. You simply notice it, noticing you. The monk once poured water into a cracked cup. It leaked slowly from the side. A student said, "It's broken." The monk replied, but look, it gives even as it empties. You feel that truth now. You are not here to hold everything in. You are not here to prove your strength. You are here to soften so deeply that even the breath becomes an offering, and it has. You are no longer you in the way you were during the day. No title, no duty, no posture. You are a presence. You are a field. You are a quiet note held long after the bell has been struck, and the sound does not end. Because it is not in the ear, it is in the stillness. You are not counting breaths. You are not marking time. You are not performing sleep. You are becoming it. Not sleep as escape, but sleep as communion with the sky, with the body, with whatever part of you is made of stars and dusk and slow rivers. This part asks for nothing, and it receives everything. Even the smallest shift, a fingertip softening, a shoulder relaxing, feels like a flower blooming where no one is looking. You are blooming now, into quiet, into lightless light, into the gentle rhythm of a world that keeps spinning, whether you think or not, do or not, remember or not. You are part of that rhythm, the rhythm that breathes in even when you don't try, the rhythm that holds you even when you let go. Let go of the need to be aware, of the habit of returning to thought. Let go like leaves in wind. Let go like rain into ocean. Let go like this moment, becoming sleep. You are safe now, and safe does not mean nothing will happen. It means nothing must be controlled. Let go! Let go! Let go. It's quiet now, not just around you, but inside. The kind of quiet that doesn't need silence to exist. The kind that grows when nothing is pulling. No thought tugs at your sleeve. No memory asks to be held. Even your breath has forgotten to be managed. It simply is, and so are you. There is no effort left, only continuation. You are not doing stillness anymore. You are stillness. You are the atmosphere that holds the breath. You are the pause between a question and its answer, and the space that stays even if no answer ever comes. The monk once said, "True rest is not the body collapsing. It's the soul no longer needing to defend itself." You have reached that rest, not as an achievement, not as a reward, but as a reunion. You didn't have to earn this peace. You only had to stop arguing with it. You feel the body dissolve a little more, shoulders sinking deeper, spine melting into the bed, feet no longer reaching toward anywhere. You are held by something larger than posture. You are resting on the lap of existence, and existence does not shift beneath you. It holds. The ceiling could vanish, and you would not flinch. The walls could dissolve, and you would not stir, because your home is no longer a room. It is this softness, this breath, this night, this vast quiet where nothing needs permission to be as it is. A wind might rise in the distance. You would not chase it. A dream may pass across the edges of your mind. You would not follow. Even thoughts now are like birds migrating far above, unseen, but known, moving, not for your attention, but according to their own rhythm. And rhythm is all that's left. Breath, heartbeat, stillness. The monk once told a novice anxious to succeed in meditation, "You don't need to go deeper. You just need to stop swimming." You have stopped now. You are floating in the space beneath the breath, a place untouched by striving. a place the body always remembered, but the mind often forgot. Here there is no goal. There is no moment after this one. There is no before to regret. There is no after to prepare for. Only this long generous now. Sleep is no longer approaching. It is no longer beginning. It is here. And it doesn't feel like falling. It feels like returning. The body that once held tension like armor now breathes like a forest in the rain, soft, quiet, alive. The eyes no longer see, but they perceive light differently. The kind of light that comes from within. The kind that doesn't need flame. The kind that remains even after the candle goes out. You do not reach for that light. You do not name it. You allow it to glow quietly in the center of your chest, like a forgotten kindness remembered. And in this light, the last thoughts begin to melt, not disappear. Melt, like snow meeting river, like breath leaving lips that no longer need to speak. You may dream soon, or you may not. Both are welcome. Both are held by the same arms of silence that hold you now. The monk once bowed toward an empty mat and said, "Even emptiness deserves gratitude. It lets us lie down, and so you lie down. Not just in body, but in being. You surrender the last thread of effort. You stop holding the sky above your head, and the sky, kind as ever, does not fall. It simply remains just like you, unmoving, unworried, unconditionally home. The body is no longer something you live inside. It is something you've blended into, like warm water poured into warm water. There is no longer a distinction between the one who rests and the resting itself. The sheets beneath you are not just fabric. They are part of the night cradling you like the dark cradles the moon. You don't need to close your eyes. They have already closed themselves. You don't need to silence your thoughts. They have grown so quiet, they no longer knock, they only float. And even floating is too strong a word. They drift, they breathe, they dissolve. You are no longer aware of your awareness, and yet it continues not sharply, not brightly, but like a lantern kept on in another room. You don't need to tend it. It glows on its own. The monk once told the story of a mirror in a cave. For years, people had tried to clean it, dusting, polishing, washing. But when the monk visited, he did nothing. He simply waited, and in the stillness, the cave shifted. The dust settled, the air cleared, and the mirror revealed what it had always held, the whole of the sky. That's what this rest is now, not a cleaning, not a doing, but a deep, trusting pause, letting the dust settle, letting the light return on its own. You have done enough. Even the idea of doing has gone to sleep. There is no one to impress, no image to maintain, no lesson to finish. The breath continues gentle, shallow, perfect. You feel it in the belly, now low and slow like a tide after moonset. Like the world's oldest rhythm remembered in your bones. Even the bones rest. The hips sink further. The shoulders become part of the floor. The spine no longer holds you up, it simply is. Not straight, not curved, just resting. The monk once said, "When the bamboo no longer tries to grow, it begins to listen." You are listening now, not to sound, not to thought, but to the quiet hum of being, the subtle frequency of existing without resistance. There is no need to follow it. There is no need to interpret it. It follows you. It hums because you are here. You are not waiting to fall asleep. You are not counting anything. The heart has become its own metronome. The breath its own lullaby. And the soul, if such a thing can be named, is no longer separate from the silence that surrounds it. You may not remember this part later. That's okay. It is not here to be remembered. It is here to hold you as gently as breath holds space. The monk used to pour tea into cracked cups and say, "Even a cup that leaks still warms the hands." You are that warmth now, held, leaking nothing, needing nothing. Even dreams, if they arrive, will arrive slowly. They will not startle. They will not stir. They will wrap around the silence like fog around trees, soft, quiet, ungraspable, and you will meet them without rising, without leaving this place, because this place does not exist on a map. It is not defined by walls or blankets or sleep cycles. It is defined only by your willingness to let go of everything, and you let go so completely that even the idea of letting go, let go. There is nothing left to do, not even rest. You are beyond rest now. You are stillness itself. Stillness without name, without need, without watcher, and in that you are safe. There are no corners in this moment. No sharp edges, no walls, no horizon lines. Only soft, infinite space, like the inside of a cloud that forgot how to rain. You are inside that space now, and you are not alone. Not because someone else is near, but because loneliness itself has dissolved. The part of you that once separated itself from the world has gone quiet. It no longer whispers, "Am I safe?" It knows. It remembers. Safety here is not a condition. It's the default. You are not hidden in the night. You are part of it. You do not rest within the dark. You rest as the dark, soft, expansive, unbound. The monk once said, "We don't close our eyes to leave the world behind. We close them to return to the part of it we carry inside." And you've returned now, the temple of breath, the sanctuary of stillness, the boundless silence beneath the skin. You may not know the shape of your body anymore. That's not a loss. It's a freedom. You are not your outline. You are not your muscles, your weight, your effort. You are a presence that no longer needs form to be real. You are the scent of sleep, the texture of stillness, the hum the sky makes when it stops waiting for anything. Your breath is so light now, so faint, that even the air hesitates to disturb it. It's not shallow, it's sacred. You breathe the way trees breathe at midnight, unhurried, unseen, fully alive. Even your thoughts, if they arrive, walk barefoot now. They make no sound. They bow before entering, and most of them turn around at the door. There's no reason to disturb this space. No reason to stir the lake when it already reflects everything clearly. You lie here not like someone falling asleep, but like someone remembering they never left it. The body is whole. The breath is enough. The self is not separate, and so there is nothing left to correct. The monk once held a cup with a crack and said, "This is my favorite one. It knows how to let the tea pass through." You are that cup tonight. Nothing clings. Not the tension, not the thought, not even the dream. All of it passes through. You are not broken, you are simply open, and openness is peace. Outside, a breeze stirs the trees, not enough to move them, just enough to remind you the world still turns and you are allowed to rest while it does. You don't have to carry it. You never did. You don't have to witness it all. You never could. You don't have to prepare for what's next. There is no next. Only this. Only breath. Only warmth. Only the space between stars where nothing shines and everything still exists. You are not the star tonight. You are the space that lets it glow. And even if no dreams come, that too is grace. Even if you slip so far inward that not even memory follows, that too is sacred. Because in that silence you are not gone. You are returned to the deep original quiet, to the part of you that never needed a name, to the part that breathes not to survive but to sing without sound. Let it sing now. Let it rock you further inward. Let it dissolve even the word sleep. Let it become what it always was: rest, peace, presence. You are here, and here is everything. There is no clock in this space. Time doesn't pass here, it exhales. You are no longer being carried by the moment. You are the moment, not a person inside it, not a mind measuring it, but the moment itself, stretched wide and open like moonlight across water. You've become quiet in a way that doesn't feel like silence. It feels like belonging. There is no longer anything to fall into. You are already surrounded. You are already floating. And now even the idea of floating has faded. You are stillness remembering itself. Your body has long since stopped asking for adjustment. There is no tension to fix, no shape to correct, no effort to maintain. You've returned to the native posture of peace, the one before chairs, before tasks, before language. The monk once described it as the shape of the wind when it is not being watched. You are that wind now, unobserved, unburdened, unfolded. Sleep is no longer a goal. It is no longer the next thing. It has become the current state. Even if some tiny thread of awareness still flickers in the background, like the dim glow of a distant lantern, it doesn't need to go out. You can rest with it. You can rest as it. This awareness isn't the kind that thinks or solves. It only feels. And what it feels is softness. A deep softness. A dissolving. Like sugar into warm tea. Like snow into still water. Like the question mark becoming a comma and then vanishing altogether. You are no longer waiting for anything to begin. Everything already has. The monk once sat beside a sleeping dog and said to no one, "This one knows more about the Dharma than I do." You understand now. There is a knowing that happens in stillness that no sutra can teach. A kind of wisdom that grows only in complete surrender. You've stopped seeking. You've stopped reaching. Even your curiosity has gone to bed. What's left isn't empty. It's spacious. Like a room with the window open just enough to let the night in and the breath out. You're not watching your breath now. You are the breath, and the breath is not trying to calm you. It simply moves, because movement is its kindness. You lie on your side or maybe on your back, but the shape doesn't matter. Because the stillness is inside the shape, not around it. You are not the figure in the bed. You are the space in which the figure rests. You are not the mind dreaming. You are the quiet field where the dream is allowed to wander slowly with no leash. And even the dream is not required. You could remain here without images, without narratives, just floating breath to breath, without needing anything more than this exact ease. A thought appears. It leaves, like a single firefly blinking once and returning to the dark. The monk once said, even the bright ones blink. You don't cling to it. You don't judge it. You don't ask it to stay or go. You let it pass. And it does. Everything passes now. But you, the deep resting you remain. Not as a name, not as a story, as peace. As the unspoken stillness beneath every prayer. As the breath that comes before the first word and stays after the last. Even your breath pauses sometimes. Not out of fear, out of fullness, as if to say nothing more needs to be added, not even another inhale. You are already complete, and in that completeness you rest, like a mountain after snowfall, like a bell after the strike, like a flame that doesn't flicker because the wind has stilled. You are still, and in your stillness, everything is whole. You are no longer entering sleep. You are inside it. And sleep in this form is not a shutting down. It's an opening. The eyes may be closed, but nothing is blocked. The ears may rest, but nothing is missed. The body may be still, but presence expands wider than ever. The monk once said, the world gets louder when you first close your eyes, but if you stay long enough, you'll hear the quiet underneath. You are hearing that quiet now, not with the ears, with your breath, with your spine, with the soles of your feet. You are listening with the part of you that existed before language, the part that only knows how to receive. And what you receive now is peace. Not peace as reward, not peace as a goal achieved, but peace as the natural state of one who is no longer pretending to be separate from the world. You are not outside this night. You are woven into it, like thread into silk, like dew into grass, like breath into breath. There is no longer any division between you and what holds you. The blanket is not on top of you, it is part of you. The floor is not beneath you, it is cradling your bones like memory. The air is not outside you, it is your final teacher tonight, and its only lesson you are already allowed to rest. You feel the weight of the day long gone, not dropped like a burden, but faded like chalk after rain. You don't even remember what it felt like to carry, only this feeling of being enough by simply lying here. The monk once poured water into a sleeping student's cup. The student didn't wake. Later he asked, "Why did you fill my cup when I wasn't there to drink?" The monk replied, "Your rest was the most beautiful part of you. I wanted to offer it something. Tonight the world offers you nothing, and in doing so gives you everything. No sounds interrupt, no thoughts demand. Even dreams approach slowly, respectfully, as if bowing before entering the temple of your breath. You may see images soon, you may not. But that is no longer your concern. The part of you that needed to know is sleeping. The part of you that needed to guide is folded beneath the blankets. And what remains is not a person, not a thinker, not even a sleeper. What remains is rest itself, soft, expansive, still. You could remain here forever, not because time has stopped, but because you no longer check its passing. Each breath feels like a return. Each exhale a soft thank you to the body. Thank you for carrying me. Thank you for stopping now. There is nothing to plan, nothing to replay, no doorway to the future, no hallway into the past. Only this quiet room that is also a sky, a river, a field of wind moving through nothing. The monk once said, "To fall asleep in full awareness is to bow to the mystery that keeps your heart beating even when you forget it's there." You feel that now, that quiet heartbeat. The pulse of a body that asks for nothing but gentleness. You've given it that, and it has given you back your place, not in the world of action, but in the world beneath that world, the realm of softness, the temple of sleep, the inner garden where no shoes are needed, no effort welcomed. You lie here like stone under moss, untouched by time, warmed by silence. There is no more need to know where you are. You are here. That is enough. And here is peace. You are no longer arriving. You have arrived. There is no trace of movement now. Not because you've stopped, but because you've merged with stillness so completely motion no longer applies. You are not resting in a room. You are resting in a vast, borderless peace. A peace that does not depend on the absence of sound or sensation, but on your surrender to whatever is. The body is not heavy. The body is not light. It is simply unresisted, like a petal on a river, neither floating nor sinking, but belonging to both water and air. The monk once said, "True sleep begins when there is no longer a sleeper, only sleep itself." You are beginning now, or maybe continuing, or maybe you've stopped needing such words at all. You are not observing this moment. You are within it as a breath is within the lung, as warmth is within the hand that rests quietly at your side. You have forgotten to hold on to the day, to the thoughts, to the self you used to carry around like a name tag. Now there is only breath. And even breath is fading, not ending, but becoming less distinct, like mist merging with morning. You are not breathing to stay alive. You are breathing because that's what peace does when it has nowhere else to go. It lingers. It moves without destination. It becomes you. You turn slightly, maybe. Or maybe the breath turns and you simply follow it. There is no difference anymore. The blankets do not hold you in. They hold you open, like hands cupped around firelight. And your warmth, it comes not from the body, but from letting go of everything that cooled you. You are not alone here, but nothing crowds you. You are not silent because the world went quiet. You are silent because the voice that doubted, questioned, measured has gone to sleep. And what is left, a you that doesn't need fixing? A you that doesn't speak in words. A you that remembers how to be without being anything. The monk once placed a feather on the altar. No incense, no prayer, just the feather. When asked why, he said, "Because it landed near my foot and I noticed it." You are that feather now. Not meaningful, not meaningless. Simply here, and being here is wholly enough. The breath hums in your chest, not as repetition, but as a quiet melody remembered from before you were born. You don't need to follow it. You are already part of the song. You are the space between the notes. You are the slow return of daydream into dream. You are the warmth behind closed eyes, the part that glows without light. And if thoughts still pass, they do not bother you. They pass like clouds through the open sky, noticed maybe but never held, because nothing needs to be held now. Everything is allowed to drift. Even you. Especially you. You drift not down, but in. Inward toward the center of quiet. Inward toward the origin of your breath. Inward toward the nameless place where the body becomes more than a body, it becomes home. You are home now, not in a bed, not in a building, but in the knowing that nothing more needs to happen. You are not waiting for dreams. They may come, or not, but you are already where they lead. The monk once bowed to the moon and said, "I thank you not for rising, but for teaching me I didn't need to." Tonight you do not need to rise. You do not need to do. You do not need to be anything more than what you are. Still, soft, surrendered, safe, and in this place there is no ending, only the soft continuation of peace. You've slipped beneath the surface now, not beneath the surface of sleep, but beneath the surface of needing to know you're asleep. There is no awareness keeping watch, no part of you still standing guard, only breath soft as fog on a field. Only presence gentle as a monk's footsteps on the temple floor. Only this moment which asks nothing, offers everything, and never ends. You are not your mind tonight. You are not your story. You are not the one who lies down. You are what has always remained when all else has loosened its name. You are not sleeping. You are sleep itself. The ancient rhythm, the return to womb, warm silence. The soft re-entry into origin. The monk once told a story about a mountain lake. So still birds refused to land for fear of disturbing its mirror. He said, the soul knows when it's time to reflect and when it's time to disappear. You've disappeared now. Not vanished, not lost, but dissolved, merged, returned. The breath no longer matters. Not because it's gone, but because it's become part of everything. The inhale is not yours. It is the air breathing itself through you. The exhale is not letting go. It is release already fulfilled. And the gap between that sacred pause, it is the resting place of all questions. No answers live there, only quiet. A quiet so soft even thought forgets to rise. You feel the blanket now not as weight or warmth, but as presence. It holds you the way morning fog holds the valley, without pressure, without boundary. You are neither inside nor beneath it. You are with it. With the dark, with the breath, with the endless rhythm of this slow night. There is no resistance anywhere in you, not in the legs long forgotten, not in the hands open without offering, not in the jaw no longer trying to form anything at all. Even dreams pause at the edge of this peace. They do not rush in, they bow, they whisper, "We'll wait," because this moment, this space is holy in its emptiness. You do not need images. You do not need stories. You do not need color, form, memory. You are resting now in the unformed, the place before. Thought takes shape, before sound becomes word, before being becomes self. The monk once wrote on an empty scroll, "This page holds more truth than I ever could." You are that page now. Blank, boundless, brimming. You've released all labels, sleeper, thinker, seeker, even breather, all gone now. And what remains? Stillness. The kind that doesn't depend on your awareness of it. The kind that holds no timeline. The kind that sings beneath the breath and behind the eyes. And you do not need to listen for it. You are within it, and it is within you. You lie as the earth lies, not because it's tired, but because it is enough simply to be. And you are enough now, not for tomorrow, not for others, but for this exact breath, this exact softness, this exact dark. You are whole, even without knowing it, especially without knowing it. And this wholeness, it needs nothing added, not even sleep, because sleep has already wrapped itself around you, like air, like soundless song, like the forgotten stillness that waited all day to hold you. And now it does, without asking you to dream, without asking you to disappear, only to rest, only to return, only to breathe one last time, and then let even that go. You are not beneath the sky. You are the sky, the vastness, the hush, the endless capacity to hold what comes and what leaves, clouds, birds, breath, thought, moonlight. All of it passes, none of it remains. And still, you are. You are not the movement. You are what receives the movement. And in this receiving there is no effort, only allowance, only openness, only rest. Your body no longer speaks in aches. It does not ask to be moved or soothed. It has dissolved into the softness beneath it, the mattress, the floor, the night itself. You are no longer lying down. You are being held. And being held does not require your attention. It asks only your surrender. The monk once said the cup does not hold the tea. It holds the space where the tea can be. Tonight you are that space. You are not holding on to anything. You are what lets things pass through. Your thoughts, if they come, arrive like wind-blown petals, no weight, no story, no insistence. They land, they stay, they drift away. And you remain unmoved, not numb, not detached. Still, stillness is no longer something you found. It is what's left after everything else has gently gone to sleep. There is no identity here, no one to label this moment. No you watching this piece unfold, only peace, unfolding. The breath continues, but even it is quiet now. Not silent, alive, but alive the way grass continues to grow in the dark, without asking, without proving, without performing. It is simply enough to continue, and so you do. The monk once sat all night beside a stone. When morning came, he said to the stone, "You've taught me how to rest without waiting. You are not waiting for dreams now. You are not waiting for sleep to deepen. There is no deeper. You are already inside the center, not as an achievement, but as a remembering. The body was always this wise. The breath was always this kind. It was only the mind that needed time to catch up. And now, even the mind has laid itself down, not defeated, not erased, just quiet. Like a book closed on a table, its story paused in mid-sentence, the lamp turned low beside it. The story doesn't need to end. The lamp doesn't need to burn out. You are already where the next word doesn't matter. There is no anxiety here, no projection. The self that tried to plan is sleeping. The self that kept watch is resting. And the self that simply is finally beautifully enough. You breathe again. Not to reset, not to ground, only to feel the softness ripple through your chest, like a silk scarf lifted and dropped by invisible hands. You do not control the breath. You trust it. You trust that it will continue. You trust that it will slow. You trust that when it pauses, so will the world. And in that pause, everything returns. There is no fear now. There is only quiet. The kind of quiet that does not need to be earned, only noticed. And even that is optional. Because whether or not you notice it, it holds you anyway. The monk once closed his eyes during a windstorm and said, "Even now there is a place that does not move. You are there, the center that does not sway, the breathless peace beneath the restless world. The part of you that does not come and go, it only stays, still, simple, whole. You may sleep, or you may remain in this silence. But either way, you are no longer searching. You have arrived. There is nothing more to prepare. Sleep is no longer approaching. You are not transitioning. You are not descending. You are not crossing a threshold. You are here, and here has no edge. It stretches in every direction, but it doesn't move. It welcomes, but it doesn't ask. It holds, but it doesn't press. This is the part of night where even the idea of time gives up. You could remain like this forever, and forever would not feel long. It would feel still. The monk once said, "We chase peace as if it hides somewhere behind the next hour, but peace never moves. It is we who forget how to be still enough to find it." You have stopped chasing now. You have slowed enough to notice peace was never ahead. It was underneath the last thought, underneath the last plan, underneath the last breath you tried to guide. Now you are no longer guiding, you are floating, and even floating feels too directional. You are simply being weightless, boundless, unformed. The body doesn't speak anymore. It doesn't need to. Its language has become breath. Its language has become stillness. The body now is not an object, not something you lie inside. It is the fabric of silence made visible, the warm exhale of the universe given shape. You feel it, the breath arrives without effort. It departs without comment. No part of you measures it anymore. It simply continues, and you continue with it. Or maybe you have forgotten the difference between the two. A breeze somewhere outside the walls, or perhaps imagined, makes a soft pass across your chest. The skin notices. The heart does not react. You are beyond response, beyond guarding, beyond shaping your inner world into anything but this exact, whole pause. The monk once said, "You do not need to light incense for the wind. It already carries the truth." You are not trying to be spiritual tonight. You are not trying to be centered. You are not trying to deepen anything. There is no intention left, and because of that, there is peace. Deep peace. The kind that does not require your attention. The kind that does not waver when your mind flickers. Even the flickers now are dim, harmless, distant, like fireflies too tired to glow. You do not swat them away. You do not invite them in. You let them pass, and pass they do, because even thoughts know when they are not needed, and they are not needed here. Here only stillness remains, stillness and warmth, and the soft weight of no longer needing to be anything. Not better, not wiser, not more prepared for tomorrow, Sleep does not demand your readiness. It only asks that you stop resisting your return. And you have. You have returned now not to a place but to a truth. That you are allowed to be, allowed to rest, allowed to breathe without watching, allowed to exist without explanation. The monk once placed a bowl in the center of the hall and said, "This is not for food. It's for space. Your breath is that bowl now. You do not fill it. You do not empty it. You simply allow it. A rhythm too sacred to improve. You do not count. You do not listen. You are the rhythm now. And even if the rhythm pauses, you are not disturbed. Because there is no fear here. There is no uncertainty. Only the vast, subtle presence of something older than mind, older than effort, older than sleep itself. And in that presence, you do not fall asleep. You are absorbed into it, melted into it, rewoven into what was always whole. Even dreams, if they come now, will feel less like story and more like breath. They will not carry you. They will pass through you, because you no longer need to go anywhere. You are already gone from thought, gone from time, gone from needing anything more than this, which is already perfect. There is no longer anything left to hold on to, and yet you do not feel lost. You feel returned. Returned not to a memory, not to a place, not to some version of yourself before the day began, but to something older, something quieter than memory, something beneath even your name. The monk once said, "When you truly rest, you are not recovering from the world. You are remembering that you are not separate from it. You are remembering now, and what you remember has no words, only warmth, only rhythm, only the endless sense that nothing must be earned in order to continue. Your body does not sleep as a command. It sleeps as a song, unwritten, unrehearsed, unrepeated. It hums in your bones. It sways in the breath. It settles in the quiet bend of the spine and in the looseness of your jaw. You have not planned this sleep. You have not performed it. You have surrendered to it. Or perhaps you've surrendered into it. There is no difference anymore. The breath that once felt separate, a movement you watched, counted, followed, is now seamless with you. You are not inhaling. You are being breathed. There is no watcher now, no inner narrator, no sense of distance between you and what is happening. There is no you having this experience. There is only the experience itself, and that experience is soft, unmeasured, unfolding like steam rising from a cup, disappearing not into nothing, but into everything. You feel the shape of your body dissolve a little more. What was once an edge, a shoulder, a hip, a limb, is now something closer to suggestion. You exist as presence, not as posture. Even the feeling of the bed beneath you is fading. Not gone, just unimportant. The ground no longer needs to hold you, because gravity itself is optional here. Sleep is no longer a direction. It is a temperature, and it is warm. You are not drifting towards sleep. You are sleeping while still here. You are in the moment and beyond it. Still, present, vast. The monk once stood in front of a stone wall and whispered, "I do not seek the wall to move. I seek to realize that it never blocked me." You feel that now. Nothing blocks you from peace. Not the body, not the mind, not even thought. Because even thought has become light. too light to carry weight, too light to disturb water, too light to matter. And so you are not fighting sleep. You are not inviting it. You are simply not resisting the part of you that already knows how to rest. You knew long before anyone taught you, long before the clock, long before the pressure. There is a part of you that sleeps the way mountains sleep, the way stars burn, the way rivers flow when no one is watching. That part of you is awake now, and not in contradiction with sleep. It is the awareness that continues, even when everything else melts. You don't need to hold on to it. It does not fade, because it does not speak in memory. It speaks in stillness. It is stillness, and now, so are you. You do not need a dream to begin. You do not need a thought to finish. You do not need the next breath to be any different than this one. This breath is enough. This breath is complete. This breath is the entire universe rising and falling inside the softness of your chest. Let it rise. Let it fall. Let yourself be breathed and forgotten, and remembered only as the one who returned home without needing a map, because this is not the end of the night. This is not the beginning of sleep. This is not a moment to be marked. This is the center, the still point, the origin. You are resting not until something. You are resting into something, into the quiet, into the breath, into the part of you that asks for nothing and in return receives everything. Sleep is not the absence of waking. It is the presence of surrender. You have surrendered, and in that surrender, you are whole. The stillness is not holding you anymore. You have become the stillness. There is no distance between you and it. No line between what breathes and what is breathed. No separation between body, airspace, or silence. It's all one now, and you are part of that one, not as a piece of it, but as its center. You do not need to find comfort. You are comfort. You do not need to chase calm. You are calm. The monk once whispered to a disciple who could not sleep, "It's not the body that resists rest. It's the one who thinks it must control it." Tonight you have stopped controlling. You have stopped managing. You have stopped trying to get anywhere, even toward peace, because there is nowhere to go. This is it, and it is perfect. Your hands lie still, not because you placed them carefully, but because they found their way to stillness the same way rivers find the sea. Your face no longer holds expression. It no longer holds anything. It is soft clay beneath sky. Your chest moves slowly, but even that movement does not require your noticing. It continues without needing to be seen. It is no longer yours to own. It belongs to stillness now. You are not disappearing. You are simply remembering what it feels like to be without effort, what it feels like when the world doesn't need you to shape it, and what it feels like when you no longer need to shape yourself. The body rests, the mind is weightless, and the breath is the hum of silence expressed in motion, so soft, so smooth, so unnecessary to watch. It moves like wind passing through a forest of no resistance. You lie in that forest now. You are part of it. Your thoughts, if they rise, are leaves. Your memories, if they stir, are light passing through high branches. You hold none of it, and none of it holds you. You are not being good at sleeping. You are not practicing stillness. You are simply being what you already are, when nothing is required of you. The monk once stood under a tree during a long rain. He did not move. When asked what he was doing, he said, "I am becoming water." You are becoming water now, formless, free, unable to be held and no longer needing to hold. Even dreams move more slowly here. They do not rush in. They do not startle you with their stories. They arrive like fog touching a window, visible, quiet, gone again. Or they don't arrive at all, and both are perfect. You are not waiting for them, because you are not waiting for anything. The part of you that used to mark time has set the clock down. The part of you that used to reflect has dimmed its mirror. The part of you that used to ask has gone quiet. And in that quiet, something new breathes stillness that has no goal. Stillness that does not serve anything. Stillness that simply is. You are that. The blanket on your body is no longer a covering. It is part of you, part of the warmth that now defines you, part of the presence that no longer asks to be named. Even your thoughts, if they return, arrive so softly that they barely touch the air. They do not shape the breath. They do not change your rest. They are no longer clouds blocking a sky. They are the color of the sky itself. The monk once pointed to an empty bowl and said, "This is the quietest sound I've ever heard." You feel that now, the sound of no sound, the presence of no presence, the fullness of what remains when everything else falls away. You are not waiting for sleep. You are not asking it to arrive, because you are already within it, and it is within you. There is no threshold, no gate, no tunnel to pass through. There is only this soft, endlessly unfolding moment, this breath, this warmth, this stillness, this you, exactly as you are. No doing, no effort, no need. Just peace, and peace does not move. It receives. There is no pulse of urgency now, no flicker of thought trying to finish itself. Even the breath, steady and slow, has forgotten to announce its rhythm. It no longer feels like something you do. It feels like something that simply happens, inside a you that no longer needs definition. The stillness has thickened, though not in weight. It has become dense in peace. Like mist that settles so deeply, it feels like memory. You are wrapped in that memory. The memory of when nothing was expected of you. Before striving, before naming, before needing. And in this return, there is no effort. You have not traveled. You have allowed. The monk once said, "The door to peace opens when you stop knocking." You have stopped knocking. You've stopped waiting for something new to begin. Because what you're in now is not new. It is original. It is what the world felt like before stories. It is what the soul feels like without mirrors. There is no longer a you here who needs to direct anything. No need to check the body. No need to assess how calm the breath is. No need to confirm whether sleep has arrived. It has. Or perhaps you've arrived into it. The bed beneath you no longer supports a person. It holds a presence. That presence is you, not the thinker, not the dreamer, not the watcher, but the soft, unconditioned stillness that has always known how to lie down. You are the space between one thought and the next, the pause between inhale and exhale, the quiet inside the sound of wind through trees. You've forgotten to remember anything, and this forgetting is perfect. This is not emptiness. This is fullness without effort. The monk once watched a single leaf fall from a tree. He did not speak for a long time. And when he did, he whispered, "This is the sound of letting go." You have let go, not all at once, not with force, but slowly, naturally. Like dusk giving way to night without needing applause. There is no more applause. There is no more audience. There is only the breath, the darkness, the softness, and the you that exists inside all three. You do not dream yet, or perhaps you already are, but the dream is so seamless with your rest that it does not arrive as a vision. It arrives as warmth, as stillness, a dream not of images, but of weightlessness. The body does not ask to be known. It does not require your awareness. It simply lies here no longer as something to manage, but as something that belongs fully, quietly, completely. Even your bones have gone soft. Even your mind has learned to whisper. Even your pulse is more like a song now, low, steady, ancient. And in that song, there are no words. Only the lullaby of letting everything be exactly as it is. You are not resting to recover. You are not sleeping to escape. You are not dreaming to reach some deeper self. You are resting because rest is the nature of the night. And you have returned to nature. You are part of the sky now. Not the stars, not the light, but the silence that holds them all. You are no longer curious. Curiosity requires movement, and movement is done. Only breath remains, only stillness, only the quiet, infinite space where all things soften. And you have softened completely. There is no beginning to this moment, no edge where you entered it, no sound to mark the start, no boundary that separates before from now. You're not tracing time anymore. Time has let go of you. Like mist letting go of the mountain. Like sound letting go of a bell. Even your name feels far away. Not missing, just no longer necessary. There is a peace that arises when nothing is required of you. When no one expects you to be better or deeper or ready. That peace is here now, and it is vast. You're not floating. You're not drifting. You're simply not holding on, and that is enough. The monk once told a story about a traveler who arrived at a temple asking for directions to enlightenment. The monk poured him a cup of tea, but even after the cup was full, the monk kept pouring. The traveler shouted, "It's already full." The monk said, "So is your mind. Tonight your cup is empty. No thoughts spilling over. No urgency to understand. Only space. Space for silence. Space for sleep. Space for the night to come in and sit quietly beside your breath. You are not here to figure anything out. You are not here to finish. You are here to be. And being in this place is effortless. The breath is no longer a practice. It is a softness. It is a tide that no longer checks for the moon. Inhale, exhale, but even those words feel too loud now. They've stepped back, because what's happening here is quieter than language. It is presence without observer, peace without origin, breath without breather. Your arms lie where they are, not placed found. Your face has dropped into stillness, not expressionless, expression-free, not numb, open. There's no tension to melt, no edge to round. It's all already gone. You've returned to the place inside you that doesn't measure rest. It is rest. The monk once said, "When a candle finishes burning, the light doesn't disappear. It simply joins the dark." You've joined the dark now, not as shadow but as warmth, as depth, as stillness, as the part of the night that doesn't change even when the stars move. Dreams may circle, but they don't pull. They wait. They watch. They know you are with something deeper than them now. You are not dreaming a story. You are dreaming a feeling, a softness without form, a letting go without effort, a belonging that does not depend on thought. The silence in the room is not absence. It is presence. It is not quiet around you, it is quiet with you. You are part of it. It breathes when you do. It pauses when you do. It deepens when you forget to check if it's there. You don't need to open your eyes. They're already resting inside a lightless peace that has no edges. Even if sound arrives, it will not disturb, because you are not inside the body now. You are inside the moment, and the moment holds everything. The monk once bowed to the earth and said, "I do not need to rise. The ground has already met me." You don't need to rise tonight. You don't need to go deeper. You are in the very center of the breath that never began, where nothing turns, nothing presses, nothing asks, and in that place you sleep. Not as escape, not as pause, as return. There are no ripples left. Not in the mind, not in the body, not even in the space around you. The stillness has settled completely now, not as something you did, but as something that always was waiting to be noticed. And now, it doesn't even need to be noticed. It simply is. The breath is barely there, a whisper, a memory of motion, an echo of life continuing itself with infinite gentleness. You do not need to guide it. You do not need to check on it. You do not need to name it. You are not the one breathing now. You are the breath itself, weightless, wordless, whole. The monk once held a sleeping bird in his hand, placed it on a windowsill, and whispered, "Not all flight needs wings. You are flying now, not through space, not through thought, but through the unmeasured quiet between one breath and the next. You are not aware of time passing because time has removed its shape. You are not waiting for sleep to deepen because it no longer needs to. It is already as deep as it can be. The body knows this. It has stopped adjusting, stopped reacting, stopped holding anything at all. It lies like a stone in the sun, not asking for warmth, not resisting gravity, just being held. Even the dreamscape, if it arrives, will unfold like light on water. Nothing to interpret, nothing to fix. You are not here to understand. You are here to rest, and rest is not a state. It is a return. Return to softness. Return to breath. Return to the quiet part of you that does not carry names, does not carry thoughts, does not carry anything. It just is. The monk once brushed his hand through the air and said, "This space, this silence, this is my teacher." You feel that now. The space inside your breath is no longer between thoughts. It is the thought. It is the breath. It is you. There is no tension to release because there is no tension. No fear to unravel because fear no longer has a place to cling to. What remains is presence, but not the kind you perform, the kind that existed before your name was spoken aloud. You are not being seen. You are not seeing. You are not dreaming. You are not thinking. You are not anything except this warmth, this breath, this complete blessed stillness. You have let go of everything, even letting go, and still you remain, held by nothing, held by everything. The blanket is not a layer on your body. It is the night itself. The mattress is not beneath you. It is part of you. You are not lying in the room. You are the room. You are not inside stillness. You are stillness, and stillness does not ask for you to stay. It never needed your attention in the first place. You've entered a peace so natural that it has forgotten your shape, and you have forgotten why you ever tried to hold anything else. There is nothing more to become. You already are. Nothing is waiting for you now. Not the next breath, not the next thought, not even the next dream. All has arrived. And what has arrived isn't a destination. It's an undoing, an unlayering of everything that was ever effort. There is no more effort here. Only the breath moving as quietly as a breeze that forgot it was once a wind. Only the body resting as gently as ash settles at the bottom of incense. Only you not as identity, not as shape, but as presence. Presence that doesn't lean forward or back. Presence that doesn't search. Presence that doesn't need to name itself in order to be real. The monk once sat beside a sleeping child and said, "This is what wisdom looks like when it stops trying." You are that wisdom now. Not in knowledge, not in clarity, but in the stillness that no longer asks questions. Even the silence has softened. It no longer feels like absence. It feels like completion. You do not need to deepen your breath. It deepens itself when it wishes, and when it pauses, nothing is lost. Because the pause too is sacred, a sacred hush in the middle of eternity, a sacred space between all doing. You are not in between moments. This is the moment, long, wide, unending. The sleep you thought you were falling into, you've become it. Not a sleeper, not someone at rest. You are rest, and rest is whole. The thoughts are so light now. You can't even tell when they rise or fall, like snowflakes in the dark, seen only when the wind catches them just right, forgotten the moment they touch the earth. You have nothing left to fix, nothing left to improve. Even healing is unnecessary here, because this stillness, this breathless calm, is the healing. The monk once stood in a garden and held up an empty teacup. "Why do you carry it if it holds nothing?" someone asked. He smiled and answered, "Because it reminds me I have space." You are space now. Not the space around things, but the space that allows things to be. You are not empty. You are open, and that openness holds everything gently. You don't need to remember the day. It has been laid down like a garment beside the bed. You don't need to shape tomorrow. It has not arrived, and stillness does not rush to greet what hasn't come. You are not sleeping toward anything. You are sleeping into something, into the vast, unseen hands that have been holding you even through the moments you thought you were holding yourself. You feel them now not as pressure but as release, the gentle cradle of gravity letting you go. Deeper, stiller, softer. Even the self that once narrated all of this, even that voice has grown quiet. Not silenced, just satisfied. Satisfied to no longer speak. satisfied to rest, satisfied to simply be. You are not inside a practice. You are inside peace, and peace does not whisper instructions. It simply surrounds you, like water around the stone, like silence around the breath, like the night around the stars. And now, you are asleep, not because something ended, but because all that remained was what could not fall away, and what remained was enough. You have passed the threshold now, not into another world, but into a world without borders, a world without form, without measurement, without time. This is not the realm of dreams. It is the place beneath them. The soft layer under thought, under vision, under even the idea of self. You do not arrive here as a guest. You arrive as yourself before the self needed definition. The monk once said, "The moon does not shine for the river, and yet the river glows." You are that river now glowing, not from what touches you, but from what you've stopped resisting. Sleep is no longer a process. It's no longer something to get right. You are not falling asleep. You are remembering that you already were. The breath moves now like wind through tall grass. It brushes, then leaves. It sings, then forgets the melody. And still, it continues. Not because of your effort, but because of its nature. And yours. You were made to rest. You were designed to be carried. Not by schedules, not by thought, but by rhythm. And now rhythm has returned. The deep rhythm that doesn't count time, but holds it the way the ocean holds light. You have no need for understanding here. Even wisdom has gone quiet. It bows beside you, then steps away, leaving only breath, only night, only a silence so ancient it forgot how to speak. And still it sings. The body is not heavy anymore, not light either. It's gone translucent. It has become part of the dark, a constellation of warmth and breath scattered across the bed like dusk itself. There is no more adjusting, no more aligning, no more trying. Your hands have curled softly into peace. Your spine has surrendered. Your face has released the last imprint of the day. Even thought, which once whispered for your attention, has become a fading echo too distant to follow. You are not chasing anything, not dreams, not rest, not depth. Everything has come to you. You are the center now, the center of stillness, the center of softness, the unmoving place inside motion, the breathless place inside the breath. The monk once held a bell that had never been rung. When asked why he carried it, he said, "It's the sound inside I've come to know." You are that sound now, unstruck, unbroken, unspoken, and still complete. There is nothing to respond to. No need to even feel. You don't have to trace sensation. You don't have to search for comfort. You are comfort. You are the field after harvest. Still, vast, enough. You do not ask, "How long will I stay here?" You've left the part of you that measures behind. It no longer serves you. The only thing left is this slow, rhythmic melting into nothing that feels like everything. And when the dream comes, if it does, it will not arrive to carry you away. It will join you, sit beside you, whisper in a language too soft to remember. Because there is nothing you need to remember now. This is beyond memory, beyond thought, beyond story. This is the place where even sleep sleeps, and you are there. Not trying, not leaving, not returning, just resting, just resting, just. You are not beneath the night. You are the night, not its darkness, not its silence, but the gentle vastness in which both appear. The breath is softer now than anything you could name. It does not arrive as air. It arrives as space, and even space no longer needs to be felt. It simply holds. You are not being held by anything. You are holding nothing. You have become the absence of grasping, and in that absence, peace has bloomed. There is no more blooming to do, no more unfolding. You are fully open, and yet you are untouched. The monk once sat in the middle of a field for hours, unmoving. A student asked what he was waiting for. The monk replied, "I am not waiting. I am remembering what it means to be still without reason." Tonight you remember that too. Stillness that needs no outcome. Silence that is not a technique. Rest that is not earned, only remembered. You are lying here now, not because the day is done, but because you are enough. And this enoughness, this deep yes whispered through every cell, asks for nothing in return. Not breath, not thought, not presence. Only this, and this is already complete. The body is gone now, not vanished, but unimportant. The legs do not exist to move. The arms do not exist to carry. The spine no longer stands. It simply drifts like a reed in water. Your form has melted. Your boundary has softened. Even your center has become undefined. There is no line between inside and outside anymore. There is no you sleeping in the room. There is only the room, resting as you. No door, no window, no ceiling, only openness. Only breath too faint to notice. Only silence too old to name. And if dreams pass, they pass like smoke. Not asking to be held. Not asking to be understood. You do not follow them. You do not resist them. You let them dissolve, like everything else. The monk once dropped a pebble into a still pond, then said nothing. When the student asked for the meaning, he only whispered, "You don't always need to know what caused the ripple. You've stopped asking why you feel this peace. You've stopped chasing how it came. You've stopped trying to capture it, because now you are it, the very shape of stillness, the scent of surrender, the warmth that comes from letting go without even noticing. There is no sound left, not even the internal hum. There is no thought left, not even the ones that used to gently return. There is only this soft dissolve, this perfect pause, this last breath, before the next breath forgets it is breathing. You are not remembering anything. You are not learning anything. You are not aware of rest. You are not even aware of sleep. You are simply being without the need to be known. You are the space that asks for nothing. And in that asking, you are free. You've gone beyond sleep, not deeper than it, but beneath the concept of it. The breath once noticed, then counted, then released, is now no more separate from the silence than a shadow is from the body that casts it. You do not feel the air move. You do not sense your lungs. Yet something breathes. Something continues. But it's no longer a doing. It's simply a being. Not your being, just being. The monk once held up a mirror to the moonlight and said, "There is nothing to reflect, only something to remember." You've remembered something now, but not a memory. Something older than memory. The body that lies still on the bed is not asleep. It has returned to the shape of earth, to the rhythm of the sky, to the silence of space. You are not in sleep. You are with it, walking beside it without footsteps, following its shape without direction. This is the place before the dream, before language, before self. You are not thinking. And if a thought flickers, it does so without content, a feather floating through a windless room. You no longer have a mind, not in the way it once carried you, pulling, organizing, naming. That mind is gone. Not broken, not abandoned, just rested. You are not seeking insight. There is no insight left to gain. What exists now is not the understanding of peace, but its presence. And that presence is formless. It cannot be grasped. It cannot be taught. It cannot be remembered in the morning, because it does not belong to memory. It belongs to stillness itself. The monk once whispered, "The deepest sleep is not found by closing the eyes, but by forgetting you ever opened them." And you have forgotten now. Forgotten your thoughts. Forgotten your shape. Forgotten even your longing to sleep, because sleep has become who you are. You are the absence of resistance, the softness of breath when no one is watching, the hum the world makes when it forgets it is being observed. You've dropped everything, not actively. It just fell. The concerns, the stories, the last tiny pulse of needing something more. Gone, without a sound, without an ending. You did not finish anything. You simply stopped, and the stopping became wholeness. The bed holds nothing now. Only breath. Only warmth. Only presence too wide to define. And within that presence you are not seen. You are not felt. You are not known. You simply are. There is no fear here. No edge. No shift. Not even dreams approach. Not yet. They wait at the boundary, and even the boundary has dissolved. You are not resting now. Rest is resting through you. And if anything moves within a flicker, a twitch, a distant echo, it is not disturbance. It is the final softening, the surrender beneath surrender. The monk once placed a bowl in the rain and said, "Even when I don't drink, the sky gives." Tonight you do not ask. You do not receive. You are simply given. Given stillness. Given breath. Given the end of needing to be anything at all. And in that gift you sleep, not to restore, not to prepare, not to dream, just to be, unwatched, unwound, unwritten. There is no more edge, no more border between one breath and the next, between the thought and the space it came from, between the body and the air. Everything has joined. You are not surrounded by peace. You are composed of it. The silence is not wrapping you. It is inside you, moving without moving, holding without touching. You are not here as a person. You are here as presence. Presence so soft, it no longer needs a name. So still, it no longer notices time. So deep, even the word deep cannot reach it. The monk once tapped a stone with his finger and said, "This does not sleep, but it is stillness." Be like the stone. You are the stone now, not heavy, just unmoving, unworried, unshaped by anything passing through the moment. You no longer measure the moment, not by breath, not by heartbeat, not even by awareness. You are beyond measuring, beyond narration, beyond keeping track. The body is not asleep. It is sacredly absent. It does not pull. It does not ache. It does not ask to be known. It simply rests in its own weightlessness. You are the absence of holding. There is no grip left in you. No plan. No posture. No waiting. Even dreams have learned not to knock. They may enter later, or not at all. It doesn't matter. Because there is no longer someone here to need them. You have let go of need. Without trying, it just happened. Like snow melting. Like mist thinning. Like the tide forgetting it ever reached the shore. The monk once said, "Don't chase silence. Sit so still that it forgets you were ever separate from it." That has happened now. You are not quiet. You are what quiet is made from. There are no questions left, because there is no one left to ask. There are no answers needed, because there is nothing to resolve. Only this slow, perfect dissolving. The room has disappeared, not in form and relevance. The ceiling, the corners, the walls, they do not exist in your stillness. Only breath remains. And even that is becoming memory. A rhythm so light it forgets to declare itself. You don't have to listen. You don't have to notice. It carries you whether or not you care to feel it. This is not emptiness. It is fullness with no edges. The kind of fullness that needs no container, no shape, no frame. Even your story has gone to sleep. The one that once called itself me. The one that reached, tried, remembered, planned. It's quiet now. Not missing, just still. The monk once looked into a bowl of still water and said, "This is the sky when it's done reflecting." You are done reflecting tonight. Done chasing ideas. Done listening for meaning. Done preparing to rest. You are not resting now. You are rest. You are the still flame that no longer needs to flicker. The hush of the world when it finally feels whole. And in that hush, you are not hidden. You are not asleep. You are simply gone from the part of you that ever needed to be awake. There is nothing left to fall into. You have fallen already, not down, but inward. You did not descend. You returned. Return to the center you forgot you carried. Return to the part of you that doesn't wonder if sleep is coming because it never left. There is no breath to guide anymore. It flows on its own. Or perhaps it no longer flows. Perhaps even the rhythm has gone still, not stopped, just unnecessary. The monk once sat before a candle and blew it out. Then he said, "The light was never in the flame. It was always in the space. You are the space now, not the flame, not the watcher of it. The space it lit, the space it left behind. The space that remains when all else disappears, and everything has disappeared. The bed, the weight, the watcher. The you that held this journey like a thread through the dark. All gone now. What's left? Only this softness. This quiet too, full to echo. You are not waiting for dreams. You are not dreaming. You are not sleeping as a verb. You are sleep as a state. The absence of effort. The presence of presence. Stillness so deep it no longer hums. Even silence now feels loud compared to this. What is this? Not a question, not an answer, only this. The monk once bowed to an empty cushion and said, "Even the cushion has taught me how to rest." You are that cushion now, not what rests upon something, but the very foundation of peace, the very breath of what does not need to breathe. You do not know your body. It is no longer yours to know. It is resting without form, without intention, without care. And not because it is tired, because it is free. You are free, free of trying, free of naming, free of the weight of being you. And yet, you are still here. Not in identity, in stillness, not in thought, in being, not as someone lying in the dark, as the dark that lets someone lie down. You are not waiting for anything to end. There is no more later, no more threshold to cross. You crossed it long ago, and in doing so realized it never existed. There is no doorway into this moment. There is only this moment. Always here, always waiting, until you were soft enough to enter. And now you are so soft, you have become the doorway itself. The monk once whispered, "When you are so still that not even peace notices you, you are home. You are home, and nothing more is needed. Not breath, not sleep, not self. Only this breathless, weightless, wordless center. The original stillness, the original you, the place before effort, before story, before memory. The place you return to not by closing your eyes, but by forgetting you ever opened them. And you've forgotten now, which is why you finally rest. There is no longer a boundary between you and the moment. You are not inside it. You are not watching it. You are it, a moment that does not pass, a silence that does not end, a breath so faint it barely remembers how to move. You have stopped doing, not because you gave up, but because there is nothing left to do. The monk once said a bird does not fly to get somewhere. It flies because it is the sky. You are not resting to arrive. You are resting because this is what you are when nothing interrupts. Still, spacious, weightless. Even space now feels like too dense a word. You are not occupying anything. You are not filling a room. You have become something quieter than presence, more subtle than awareness, more constant than thought. You feel no breath. You feel no bed. You feel no effort in continuing, and yet something continues, something soft, something invisible, something without direction or need. The monk once laid his palm on a bowl of water, then lifted it and said, "This is how still the mind becomes when it trusts the world." Your mind has stilled. It no longer searches. It no longer speaks. It no longer waits for peace because it has joined it. Even the body has gone transparent. Not vanished, just dissolved. There are no sensations to monitor, no limbs to adjust, no heartbeat to find. You are beyond even the awareness of being at rest. There is no commentary here, no inner echo, just the hum of nothing, and this nothing is perfect. It is not a void. It is not a lack. It is completion without form, wholeness without structure. You are not falling. You are not floating. You are not even being anymore. You are what is left when being falls away. The soft curve beneath thought. The hush between all things. the pulse behind the stars. You do not name it. You cannot. To name it would be to leave it. To think it would be to forget it. But you are inside it now. Or it is inside you. There is no difference. The monk once folded a piece of rice paper and said, "This is how the world folds around a soul that stops asking to be unfolded." You've stopped asking. Even asking has gone to sleep, and in its place, the deepest stillness you've ever known. No dream stirs, no breath replies, no question waits to rise, only stillness. Stillness that doesn't carry you, it is you. Stillness that doesn't speak, it breathes without breath. Stillness that doesn't end, because there's no one left to tell the difference between now and forever. You are not aware of this moment. You are not even aware of being unaware. You have become the silence that holds sleep, the silence beneath thought, the silence before birth, the silence that doesn't move, because it is everything, and that everything, it rests now. As you, there is nothing left to close. No door, no chapter, no final thought. You do not need an ending, because what you've entered has no end. The breath is no longer measured. It does not arrive or depart. It simply is. And so are you. You are not lying still. You are stillness. The monk once drew a circle in the sand and said, "Even the moon forgets its shape when it sleeps." You have forgotten your shape, forgotten your name, forgotten what it means to fall asleep, because you are not falling anymore. You are resting in the center of what never moved. Even dreams have settled. They no longer ask to unfold. Even silence has deepened not as emptiness, but as fullness without sound. You have become the sky that does not change, the breath that does not need to be followed, the moment that holds all moments. This is not the conclusion of a journey. This is the disappearance of the traveler. You do not need to return. You are already home, not as someone who made it, as someone who was never lost. Let the body lie soft and unbound. Let the mind release its final threads. Let the self dissolve into the vastness that was always waiting not to be discovered, but to be remembered. The monk once whispered, "The final step is no step at all. You are no longer stepping. You are no longer being led. You are no longer seeking sleep. You have become its heart, the center of the center, the silence of silence, the breath after the last breath, the warmth after the last word. And here you remain, effortless, unwatched, unfolded, whole. And now, as everything has softened, as the breath fades so deeply into stillness that it no longer notices itself, you rest, not as someone trying to rest, not as someone falling asleep, but as stillness itself, lying open without need, without time. There are no final thoughts to resolve, no loose ends to gather, no final words to remember. There is only the gentle hush of being enough. This is not the end of the night. It is the place where night becomes you, the same way a flame becomes its light. Your body has long since let go. Your mind has joined the quiet. And what remains is peace. Not the kind that needs music, not the kind that needs affirmation, but the kind that breathes beneath it all, the kind that existed before you asked for it. You've reached the place that cannot be reached, because it was never separate from you. Sleep is not coming. It is already here, inside your hands, inside your spine, inside the space behind your closed eyes. There is nothing more to say, nothing more to hear. Just rest now, soft, slow, unshaped, and if you're still awake, that's okay too. Some nights just lying still and breathing softly is enough to return home to yourself.